Apple right now, $4, and it's still going. Like, I have no idea what's going on with Apple. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Neil. We're off now.
I was just going to say, we're going to get some beef stroganoff.
Yeah, it should be good.
And head you on over to the midday. It's Sharif, it's Joe. I know they'll be excited to trade. Right. Joe won't be excited for the food, that's for sure.
Since April. More, times 2. Times 2. Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. Joey's getting lit up, I like it. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy, Joey freaking Options. Look at that front double bicep. Oh my goodness. And I'm Sharif, guys, and we got Hangry Wife. We got Why not Gorev. We got Jody Mills, Joey. We got Henzi. We got Jeremy Crypto. Who else, man? Other Zinc, the OG. Idea Dinner. I'm hungry already. I just sesh, so I'm hungry. Rivian Millionaire. We got Jacques. We got Aura Alpha, Ebb and Flow Trader. And shout out to Roadrunner as well. Rex Banner joining us. And we got Yvonne. We got Victory Mindset. Love the name. Nygaard. Like that name as well. We got Bill's Camp. Shout out to Neil. Big Sky 69. You're getting a round of applause for me. We got Mr. Love Shack as well as others, but we got to pause for a second. We got to go to Adara. She's got breaking news.
Here's Amazon, which is the subject of the news. Massive push to the upside here. I'm seeing that Amazon NVIDIA and AWS are expanding their full stack partnership, providing the secure high-performance compute platform for future innovation. I'm also seeing reports suggesting that Amazon is rushing out its latest AI chip to take on Nvidia and Google, saying that their new chips are more cost-effective than Nvidia. So we've got Nvidia and AWS expansion of a partnership on one hand, and then the other hand, Amazon rushing out their new AI chip to compete with Nvidia. We also have Sentinel-1 on watch. They're apparently at this AWS event. They are unveiling new innovations and integrations with AWS. So AMZN on watch here. Back to you.
Amazon absolutely ripping up, guys, clearing 2% now and about to take out 239. Fantastic look. Good tie up there with Sony, Joey. I mean, you know, Sony's not the monster it used to be, but, you know, they still got PlayStation and stuff like that.
Christoph Ocean, I'm going to give you a shout out, brother, because I know you're looking for one there. All right, guys, let's get right into this.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, we know that you're just playing around, but still, regardless, I know you're in the chat every day, and it deserves a shout out, but nonetheless, you already guys know what we have going on. Aside from this trade that we're currently in right now, 5120s on IBIT, not too bad of a look whatsoever. But I was telling Sharif, man, I'm like, yo, guess how many shares I traded on the day? And he's like, oh, all right, you're really on one today. But again, it didn't work out necessarily how I wanted it to. So I'm going full size right here. I take some off, and then I'm just looking for that breath within this stock and then the break through the pre-market high. We didn't get that on my ad. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's going to phase out a little bit and then get that secondary move. Try again. So I add some more size, and then sure enough, it comes against me, and I have to get out break even. So I'm like, all right, we'll be patient. No worries about that whatsoever. Try it one more time. Stopped out. Look how tight these stops are, guys. We're talking about 5-6 cents at a time. Same thing again. Boom, 5-6 cents stopped out. No worries. Let this price action play out, and then we'll take another attempt. And then sure enough, I finally get the move that I'm looking for. And what did I do?
What'd you do, Joey?
Ready fat fingers right there, my friend. Yeah, and I honestly didn't mean to. So anyways, aside from that, that's in the past. Try it one more time, looking for that breath, get stopped out, and then this was a complete accident, that short that worked out for us momentarily. But other than that, we're in the IBIT, Sharif, and that's starting to really cook up. Grinding bid on today. Let's go.
Where's the coin at, man? 91. We're 6.5. Joey, I go to the gym, I come back, we're up 5 points. I mean, that's crazy. And ETH back above 3,000. Solana, no wonder I've got a small cap gapper-like stock based upon Solana. We're looking at SOLT here on the screen, obviously. Not a small cap gapper, but trading like one today, so we're certainly going to keep an eye out on this one. I like the technical level here at 8. It's going to be really me looking at 8.10, where the 10 EMA is, or $8 where the consolidation area of the initial, or the second bull flag, I should say, took place. Also, obviously, the whole dollar. This one's up nicely on the day, I want to say, to the tune of SOLT, 22.87%. It's obviously a leveraged product, as Solana is not up that much. We have a lot of small cap gappers to look at today. The pickings are a little slim. There's some dropping back, but we're going to go to Adara. She's got news.
Keep an eye here on ADBE. This is one that is moving higher here as we get an Amazon-related announcement with the company. So again, AMZN having this event. We're also seeing that they're rushing out their AI chip to take on Nvidia and Google. But now Adobe also entering the fold. Amazon and Adobe deepening their collaboration here across product innovation and new business models with AWS. AMD also moving lower. I'm not seeing any news on this one. It could also be antipathy with Amazon's new chip, but I'm still looking into it and I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Hey, let's look at these small cap gappers. Let's start with the one that we all know about. This one was moving, I think, before I left, Joey. SMX, I just want to look out real quick. Nah, man, this was moving when I was away. 26, 28. Okay, so that's where I caught this. I caught this on Friday. I didn't actually trade it, but it was rocketing up anyway. Looking great today. Very, very strong. I like 55 bucks. I perceive us to be forming bull flag number 2, Joey. It feels like the 930 pop there was bull flag number 1. We pop off from 35. We consolidate in and around 41, 42. That's the consolidation component, right, of the bull flag. And then all hell breaks loose right at 1035. All the buying stepped in. In fact, actually before that, more like 1030. And then we got a monster second bull flag overshadowing by a great distance that initial bull flag. Look at this, man, from 43 into 66. Now we're putting a bit of a compression pattern, higher lows, but also lower highs. Watch out trading this. I don't care how annoying I sound. This thing can move dollars at a time and it can turn your lights out super quick. So if you're not trading it with the requisite size, given your experience, as well as using hard stops, well, all the power to you. But, you know, you're not going to catch me doing that. In any event, Joey, this one does look like it's compressing, so I'm going to be looking at weasel in some way, somehow. I don't like the look of BQ's jib right now. It's dropped below the volume-weighted average price, which is at 290, showing me 260 something or another. It's going to have to get back above 290 to $3 for me to get involved. Nuke just nuked itself to the downside. It just lost the volume-weighted average price. It had a nice-looking bull flag there, but it lost 660, and look at it drop through 650. This one could drop off the side chart momentarily here. MNDR, Joey, this one's got 26% under its wings today. Kind of a nice little rounded bottom. Where's Big Spile when you need him, man? We know all his affinity for those rounded bottoms, Big Spile. But in any event, this one is finding resistance at about 250, which makes absolute sense. Take a look at that consolidation area from the pre-market yesterday. 250 was the area support. Then all hell broke loose and we dropped all the way down to $2. So we're having trouble clearing that pre-market high from yesterday at around 250. I'm interested in trading it, but I need to see the right setup. I'm going to send it to Joey in a second here, but I've just got more to cover. VERI. This is like the best looking of the bull flags at the moment. It's putting in higher lows. It's substantially above that volume weighted average price. So I need to finagle my way into this at the right price, and maybe we can get a breakthrough 5. Last but not least, Joey, I promise, PLRZ. This one had a nice breakout right at 7:55, 8 a.m. Rockets up. We do a little bit of a consolidation here. The problem with this one is we got a consolidation component of the bull flag. That's check mark, right? The problem is it's using VWAP as a line of best fit. It's fitting through the median price, the consolidation median price, rather than acting as a key area of support or resistance. That ain't my move, right? I need to use VWAP as support or resistance. Otherwise, I have trouble trading them. PLRZ, Joey, we're going to keep an eye out on that one.
Absolutely. All right. So, yeah, Bills Camp for sure. We can take a look at that. I mean, this is a big-time move right here, and I've been talking about this for quite some time after I've seen the print. Full disclosure, I actually cut my contracts in half because I'm like, you know what, it's just tying up a little bit too much right now, and I don't want to hold on to them, so I'm still holding on to half of the position, but I let some go. I was writing calls, so it wasn't as bad as sometimes it can be. But aside from that, guys, here it is, 90,000 up to 91,000 here on Bitcoin. For me, I was like, oh no, liquidations we were talking about yesterday, but you recover the majority of that move here today, and I think that this move can be sustained. We're just going to go back in the history of what we got going on with Bitcoin, and from a volume standpoint, Wednesday, November 20th, 2024, and what was this? I think this would be a Wednesday again, Sharif, to be honest with you.
What is that?
I'm trying to get the, oh, it's a Friday, November 21st of 2025. So a year and 1 day apart, you have two of the largest volume prints in Bitcoin within a year span. Now we're starting to recover. These signals are extremely powerful, especially when you have multiple things correlating together. Now, am I calling this a bottom? No. But maybe we get a sustained bounce and a continued move back in towards 100,000+. I could be totally wrong, but listening to what the technicals are telling me, I think there might be a solid chance that that might happen, considering we literally built an algo based off of this system. Now let's get this this off of here. Why did I put in ETHA? We don't want that garbage.
You don't want that, Joey.
No, we don't. So as for Ethereum, guys, same thing, recovery. A nice move to the downside, just absorbing more trapped longs and then now making that move. So we have more institutional adoption, etc. You're getting the movement in Bitcoin in which a lot of crypto traders were looking for. Now, do they want to pay the premium? Absolutely not. So can that justify some of the selling? I think so. This is just what I'm thinking in the back of my head. So now maybe we can see a nice steady grind higher, considering Ethereum at one point was down 39% off of that $5,000 high, roughly. So you're at like 4,980 something. If you go from peak to that pivot trough, 50% haircut, just like that. That is not fun whatsoever. So a lot of individuals trapped, but now I think we can have the opportunity to grind. But now I'm looking at Amazon as well too. Why? Because we had that news that Adara just brought to us, but we had the volume, but no continuation just yet. I'm gonna be looking for price to turn around, and then I'm gonna get involved in that. Other than that, I'm sitting in this Bitcoin trade, looking for this to be an all-day grinder, and that's what my positions are currently laying at.
Grinding. I like it, Joey. I like it a lot. All right, we just worked into a new position, SOLT. This is the Solana ETF. I'm going to tell you exactly what the leverage is. It's 2 times. So it's obviously it's a bullish ETF. So where do we get in? We got in 28s, Joey. Show me 29s, high at day 34. I'm looking at riding the trend. If Solana wants to keep running, I'm just going to take some off the top. Now, I'm looking at getting more into the pullbacks. If there are pullbacks, I'm going to plan a DCA in the mid-teens. Currently, the 10 EMA on the 5 is showing me 13s or 14s. Can't quite tell. So you know how I do. I don't like to sit at the level. I'm going to front run it, so we're posting at 17. I'm also alive to the fact that SMX just broke the compression pattern that we were just speaking about moments ago, where it was putting in higher lows. That candle that closed at 11:05 on the 5-minute chart broke that. Most notably, though, about SMX, despite the fact that it moves crazy, it did find support almost exactly at the volume weighted average price, and then it popped off $5 from 52.50 into 57.50. You got to be careful. Look at that, Joey. It dropped into 52.50 as quick as you like, 57.50. Yeah, it can rip your face off. I mean, it looks fantastic, but it can definitely do some damage to the old account there. The point is, I'm going to look for a trend continuation. I want to see higher lows and higher highs. Current candle, we have a higher low relative to the prior candle. We'll see what we get here. Also, VERI, I want to weasel my way into this some way, somehow. VWAP is at 480. I'm going to path my patience on that one. SOLT, I've already made my point about that. Now let's load up MNDR. MNDR is the one that's doing that rounding shape that we spoke about that has resistance at 250. Alas, I like where the price action is. We're getting a lot of selling into 240, right? But where's VWAP? 225. Okay, fantastic. So that I can realistically DCA into VWAP to get the best possible price. So let's go ahead and punch in near the highs. As I mentioned, there's a seller at 40. I'm punching in at 38. So by definition, I'm getting in basically at the high. We're going to go ahead and post here some in the mid 40s. If we get a price spike, fantastic. There's the 40 seller. Look, there's nothing on the gateway, Joey. Tell them what you're looking at.
Yeah, I was looking at the same thing because you're like, his price is slowly starting to curl over. I'm sick of missing some of these small cap moves. So I pull up MDR, whatever we got going on over here, and I'm like, hey, all right, sure enough, boom, there you go. You're punching through some key resistance zones. So a nice grab on that one thus far, Sharif. Nice move. Mega names starting to come back in, with the exception of Apple. Meta was heading lower. We had Tesla. I took that off of my screen because I did strike out at the plate, but that's okay. I want to pull this name back up. I'm looking for an ad here in Bitcoin, up 6 1/4 in today's session. Yesterday we were down that much, guys, but now we're starting to get a big time recovery in the space. And if we're just going to continue this movement all day, I have no issues with continue continuously reloading the boat here and looking for that continuation in strength. A pullback is nice. One thing to note, guys, you can see that the Qs in the SPY are selling off, and the downward momentum in Bitcoin and Ethereum is relatively weaker. So I like this for when buyers step back into the Nasdaq, maybe that will get them to step back in here into the crypto space. But Meta heading towards a neckline. Keep an eye out on this one, guys. I was talking with Gorev earlier this morning just on the fact you know exactly what we're looking for, and that was a big time print. We punched up to a high of around 645, and that's going to be correlating with the pre-market highs as well, too. So keep that in mind. But it's been a steady move higher and higher here in Meta. Do we add a little bit more? Maybe. I'm going to wait for a pullback into 630 if we are fortunate enough to get that, and then I'm going to load the boat because I mentioned that I'm sitting on some cash, so I want to deploy it relatively soon. Now, as for the overall market, guys, Apple, we know, putting in a new intraday all-time high. I think this is an all-time high altogether. 287.34 is that level. But as for the SPY, not too bad, guys. You're like 2% off of those highs. 1%, brother. 1%.
Joey, I got to let them know about something over here.
Let them know.
There's a stock that is all sorts of halted. FBYD up 52.69%. This is not a small cap gapper. That's the thing. It's a 3.2-ish billion market cap. I'm just trying to look at what the headline is on this. 1031 joins Russell. Say less, say less. Okay. So this one is joining the rest, 2000. Obviously, I don't want to say the elite small cap index. There's the S&P 600 as well. I think those companies actually have to be profitable, though, to get in the S&P 600, whereas I don't think you actually have to be profitable to get in the rest. Fact check me, chat, because I could be wrong about that. I don't want to spit incorrect facts. Sasito's quick with it, bro. I like it. I like it. KC520 freaking 6. I happen to love this lady, man. Shout out to Casey. $10 in the super chat. Shout out to Keish. Sharif, hot. Not a small cap, but will you look at technicals on AMKR, please? Thinking of swing account. Absolutely, Casey. You ask, you get AMKR. Let's do a little bit of an analysis on this one, Joey. Okay, so right off the bat, it's up 5.5% today, and she's absolutely right. It's not a small capper because it's about almost a little bit shy of 10 billion. We're going to throw in the ticker real quick there so everybody can follow along, and then we're going to do some wider time frame. Let's just start with the daily first and foremost. This thing is a rocket ship as of late, Joey. What are these called? Tariff tantrum lows. We're up 191%. Fantastic look. AMKR. So this stock is outsourced semiconductor packaging and test services, engaged in outsourcing and packaging of test services, design, develops packaging and test technologies, focus on advanced packaging. There's a lot of packaging here with this company. Fantastic, fantastic. In any event, it's been really trending up since those April lows. Looks fantastic, Case. I mean, $38, you're a buyer there. If it does pull back in, that's an old area high. That should be a technical area of previous resistance that should act as support if it's tested again. Otherwise, I'd just be looking to get something off the moving averages. We had that sell-off in early November. It held the 50 period quite well. I mean, it did wick below the 50 period Case, but it generally held it for the most part. And then it starts rocketing back up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row in Greensville. I'm picking it up at 38 Case. I'm picking it up at 35. A reason I like that double top at 35, that's another technical area of support. Otherwise, you're just riding the trend on this one. I do like it. It looks really good. Let's look from the 4 hour to see if we can get a little bit more nuance with our entries. Looks the same to me. That 38 breakout, 35 double top. Let's look the 1 hour super quick over here. See if there's any other. That 35 is glaring at me here as well. So 35, 38 Case. Let me know how it goes. Good call out by you. I've never even heard of this company, quite frankly, but it's $10 billion, so it's nothing to sneeze at. Look at MNDR, Joey. We get a whole bunch of prints into 254. We've got 38s on. We wet the beak at 50, but because I was analyzing Case's chart, I didn't get to wet the beak a little bit above 50. So let's go ahead and put some orders now. But recall, MNDR has this tendency to find resistance at 50. We were above it earlier at 6 a.m. We got above it as well at 10:30. We have not had that continuation through the $0.50. That does concern me. But what am I going to do about it? Am I just going to hold and hope that it continues through the $0.50? No, it's got a great trend under its wings here. So I'll be looking to get more because it's putting in higher lows. So I like that 2 mid-30s area where the 10 EMA is. I also like that 230 area if it was to dip down. We're going to keep an eye here, Joey, on MNDR.
Absolutely. All right, good look there, man. That was a nice pop up into 253s. There it is. Guys, I think this is going to be a solid reload opportunity here in Bitcoin. So we might post up at 51.31 just to see if we can get some more shares on this bad boy. But we don't want to chase it up here just yet because I do believe that this could be a potential fake out. But if the bid remains strong, then we're not going to phase away whatsoever. So maybe we'll go 37s just to play a little safe. And then we're going to go back to our original sizing here. So let's add a little bit, post it up there, catch that fill. I have no worries about this because you can see from before we had prior resistance. You get that fake down, move, climb above it. So now we want to look for that level to come into play, and then sure enough, we'll be able to put on that trade. So that's what we got going on with IBIT. And as for INTC, guys, I was talking with, I forget who it was in the chat. I'm like, yeah, this is the move that I was looking for on Intel yesterday, but it put in this, which is horrible, horrible, horrible price action. Totally fine, but sure enough, you open up around $40, trade to a high of $43 in Intel, and then bang, it's off to the races in this name, breaking through that pivot high, some big time moves. This gap filled. Beautiful stuff. So, I mean, this name is going to continue to climb. I wouldn't be surprised if 51 is in the works. Apple can be a big-time customer for you. So, our dip buy here on IBIT not working out necessarily how we want it to, but we'll be a little bit more patient. I'm not going to give myself, I'm not going to get out of this trade until we break that $51 level. And if we do, then I have no issues with getting out. Thesis incorrect, no continuation on the trend. And I mean, you have to take into consideration the amount of legs that it's already put up. So leg 1, relatively strong. Leg 2, relatively strong. Leg 3 is when you start to get into that iffy territory and you're really pushing it. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. So big consolidation, move higher, you get that pullback, we enter in right there, we piece it out, and then now we're looking to rinse and repeat essentially. So there goes the, oh man, I was looking at the market, but I'm like, you know what? Because Assassino put the buzz thing in my mouse here, so I can't take the Q short anymore. So I don't know what to do about that. 619 neckline broken. I can't take it, man. I can't take it. I can't take it. But other than that, guys, that's what I have going on right now. We're going to see if we can get a turnaround here in Bitcoin. All right, Joey, SOLT's coming down into that 8 area, so we're going to get a little bit more here. My line in the sand is a loss of 8, okay? I like this $8 area. There's a couple of reasons. One, it's a 20 EMA, which I don't use obviously nearly as much, but it's also the consolidation area where we formed the, I want to say the second bull flag. I see you have another first bull flag. We're in the third. We'll see if we get another one over here, but SOLT coming back into 8. I'm going to defend this one into 8. But look at SMX. SMX is back at the volume weighted average price. The problem though with SMX, it has a very clear downward channel, and this one is just unable to make any higher highs. Let me bring in the side chart over here so we can kind of make the point. There's the downward channel. There's the bounce off that 52. I want to say 52, 51 and a half where VWAP is. I don't trade SMX until and if we can get above the prior candle high and close that way. And even more ideal would be for it to be preceded by a higher low. Case in point, let's take this green candle here as the example. Look what this candle did. A higher low, not necessarily a higher high. It ended up closing red. But if this candle at 11:15 was to close green, with a previous green candle as well and a higher low, that would be more interesting to me. But the fact of the matter is it still feels like the sellers are in control. Let's take a quick look now at the trades that we've got on here. We've got SOLT at that 810 area. How is MNDR doing? It's rejecting 50 pennies as sort of expected, coming back into the volume weighted average price. We just picked up some there at 30s. I'm looking for a volume weighted average price defend. We've got 35s on now, so let's post some profit takers for another bump back up should one come, and we'll keep an eye out on that. Separately, I want to let you know VERI, where's that one, is at VWAP. And
ideally I'd be looking to get in here because it formed a bull flag and now it's pulled into VWAP. The problem is it's giving me like that shades of a rounded top, right? Where it slowly starts dropping into VWAP, and that lures a lot of people in because they don't see it for the rounded top reversal pattern that it is. They think it's just a sort of a weird shaped bull flag coming back into the volume weighted average price. I'm not going to jump into this one too quickly. I need to see a little bit more to kind of get me interested. VERI, definitely on my watch list, but we're not going to jump into that one quite yet. Let's see how we're doing over here. Nice add on MNDR, right back into 39. Now we've got some posted at 42s. We should probably layer the orders a little bit over here as we did get a little bit more on that DCA. We'll layer some as well into the high 40s. There we go. On that. Nothing doing, sadly, though, on SOLT. We got the ad. We've got 21s on. It's showing me 13, so I'm 8 pennies out of the money. That's a no good, but we're going to defend this one into 8. That is the plan. Joey, there's not a whole lot going on right now. Nuke is losing it. BQ is losing it. CRWG is losing it. PLRZ is losing it. And SMX certainly about to lose it here as it weasels its way down into VWAP.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the big names. I mean, I was looking for the continuation on Amazon, and it just wasn't having it. Running into some key support levels though, which isn't horrible.
I'm losing it.
What happens? Who's losing it?
I don't text. Says I'm losing it.
Oh, I don't text. Yeah,
Sorry.
I feel you, man. Been there.
It's been those days, man. I don't mean to laugh, obviously, but you're funny.
The thing is though, in the present, sometimes it sucks. But then
100%.
You look back in a couple months from now or whatever, and you're having conversation with buddies, and you kind of tend to just laugh it off. So keep that mentality. We've all been there. Aside from that, guys, look at this downward momentum here in AMZ, and no continuation in strength. That's bogus, if you ask me. A nice volume pop, but it's like, no, see you later. We're not going to continue that move to the top side. Let's take a look at Amazon from a daily and see what we got going on. I like this name. I was long at like 213s or something like that before the pop, but then I sold way too early, Sharif, but that's okay. As for Amazon, big time consolidation. I'm going to classify this, obviously after the earnings report, as a whipsaw move, and then you just come right back into the middle of the range. So I'm not worried about this stock whatsoever. These guys are absolutely phenomenal. AWS continuing to grow at a substantial rate, and for the foreseeable future, I'm going to continuously look at this name strictly because, and then who knows with China, right? Things start to ease, Sharif. What I got to do here is I'm going to add a little bit.
Joey.
Yeah, I'm going to add, bang, there it is. I'm going to add just a little bit here. I told you this neckline break on IBIT. I'm at a dodge. We'll find something else to trade, but I'm putting just probability in my favor, in my opinion, continuing with a strong name, and that's going to be Bitcoin.
All right, weeping leader, Sharif, Joe. Thoughts on Marvell? Well, my first thing is the report. So you're going to have to make sure you are watching that report after 4 o'clock. Let's take a look at the technicals. I believe, though, Marvell is one of the few on my semiconductor microchip watch list, which is still negatory on the year. That's with negative, of course. On semiconductor, negative. Who else? Texas Instruments, negative, and then Marvell is still down almost 17% year to date, despite the fact, that it's been looking real good lately. Let's have a look at MRVL on a wider time frame over here. The daily. So we've been kind of caught in this consolidative range, a little at $80, a little at $95. You'd like to see this breakout. Sure, we have had days where we, breached 100 and certainly into the mid 90s, but they weren't sustained and they were almost immediately reversed. That's not the move, obviously. So I do like the fact that it's finding support at the 200. This is the daily. It does find support there, which is good. That means people are interested at that level. But look, I mean, the clearing of the $100 is going to be that clear technical area. And the reason I say that, look what we did in the early parts of this year, right after the election, December, January, December of last year, and then early January this year. We were using the 100 as support. We were substantially above it, 125, 128. When we came down to that hundo, we were finding some support. Now, ironically enough, probably not really that ironic, but we're finding resistance at that 100. So you'd like a decisive clearing post-earnings about the $100 area. Now, with respect to fundamentals, not a company I know a great deal about. Of course, I know that they're involved in the AI chip game, but not a company that I follow too closely. We're going to send it to Adair for crypto in a second, but there goes SOLT, Joey. So we got that ad, and it's looking real good right now. We're going to look for the highs, which are at 34s. We're showing 27s, looking for continuation on SOLT. Tell them what you got, Adara.
Before we get to crypto, I do want to mention Walmart for a second here. The CFO of Walmart, likely appearing at a conference, is saying that the peak impact from tariff costs is likely going to hit the company in Q1 2026. So Walmart basically warning, hey, the highest tariff impact hasn't hit us quite yet. Let's talk here about BTC Bitcoin. As you can see, this is quite the day for Bitcoin. Impressive one-day performance as of right now, up nearly 5%, about 4.75%, and actually undoing pretty much all of a pretty nasty candle yesterday to the downside. Now, what are the reasons for this move to the upside? I mean, obviously a bit of a rebound, but it is worth noting, as of today, Vanguard Group, according to a report from Bloomberg, is now allowing ETFs and mutual funds that primarily hold cryptocurrency to be traded on its platform. Now, Vanguard has for a long time been against crypto, but now again, they are allowing ETFs and mutual funds primarily holding crypto to be traded on their platform. That decision came into effect today. So this is the first day of this trading. Interesting look here, again, being reported by Bloomberg. So yeah, Vanguard now allowing ETFs and mutual funds holding things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Solana to be allowed to be traded. Bit of a compromise here for the firm, but apparently there are some, I guess, contingencies to this. You can read a little bit more about it on our morning watch list because it is there. Let's take a look at Ethereum as well. ETH, much like what we see with Bitcoin, completely reversing a red candle from the day prior. Back to Joe and Sharif.
There goes. Come on, Joe.
There goes
SOLT.
There goes the dynamite, baby. There goes Bitcoin.
There it is, baby. They're moving together, Joey. This is Solana, man.
Yeah, Solana. Yeah. That's a nice pickup there. I mean, I added a little bit more, so we kind of just get that triangle formation ad here, looking for that break of 5140. I like our chances. If Solana is continuing to climb higher, Bitcoin might be doing the exact same thing. And any form of a rebound in the Nasdaq and the SPY, Sharif, I think we're off to the races and probably going to possibly go and test this previous pivot high in Bitcoin. If not, neckline, we're still out of it. We're going to stick to our stops today, guys.
I like it, Joey Options. I like it. I like it. All right, guys, we're taking some out here. 833 high, current candle high on the 5-minute for SOLT, but that is 1 penny below day high. 34 is the high, so we're certainly having trouble in and around that area. And that's not the first time we've actually rejected 30, what was that? 31.30. Okay, so we actually did make another area high there. All right, not too bad, not too bad. SOLT, what do we got on here? We got 18s on SOLT. We just wet the beak at 30s. Let's see if we can get some more out. There goes MNDR again, holding VWAP. So I'm pleased with this ad right into the volume weighted average price. But you know, I'm not a range trader. That's the thing. And MNDR right now, despite the fact that it's up 30%, is trading within a range. It's 2.25 where VWAP is as support, and then 2.5, the $0.50, yesterday's pre-market top as resistance. And we're really unable to break that $0.50. That displeases me greatly. So I'm going to build my position into that 2.25. If that 2.25 fails, that ends the trade. I'm looking for continuation here on MNDR. I'm still not pleased with anything else. And I want to mention, you know, whoever's got the compunction to take SMX off VWAP, all the power to you. Because if you've taken it, you've made a bunch so far. What did we talk about here? We talked about this one dropping to 52, then rocketing up back to 60. VWAP drop. It did it again over here, 1120. Dropped into 52.25, popped up back into 57. So if you're trading it as a scalp like that, you're printing up several storms. The problem is, though, if you're looking for a trend trade, you're still getting that downward trend. It is still an unbroken and uninterrupted downward channel, despite the fact that, you know, this could be a bull flag, right? We know the bull flags are not created equal. Some have upward channels, some have entirely horizontal channels, some have downward channels, and some even compressed, Joey. We call those the bull pennants. In any event, it's not breaking out. I'm not getting involved. You got your hand on the stream deck. Something's going on your side. I want to find out.
Yeah. We're going to find out here momentarily. There goes Bitcoin, man. man. Just getting aggressive with the ads, going with the flow, sticking to strong names, and a nice little pop streak. We're going to take a little bit off here, my friend. Bang, and there it is. Is Solana breaking out? Not yet, but hey, I think you can catch up. There's some good chances that you might get that continued move. But as for some of the other strong names, guys, we loaded up on IBIT, now getting that move that we were looking for, adding when price action was telling us to. If only it worked like that every day. Unfortunately, it's not the case, but we just got to try and put probability in our favor.
Put it probability, Joey.
And there it goes. Is Solana breaking out? What do you got going on there? No, not quite yet. All right, I was getting super hyped. Man, I'll tell you one thing.
He doesn't even drink caffeine, guys.
I have a tea going here.
Oh, okay, I bet, right? Yeah, no, usually you're not drinking caffeine.
No, you know what I think it is? It's the double dose of creatine I've been taking as of late. Yeah, this is insane.
You doubling up?
Yeah, doubling up,
You're doubling up,
Yeah, and I got the ISO XP going as well.
You got the ISO.
You know ISO XP.
Of course, those are super expensive proteins.
Yeah,
Why do you even spend? It's like $120.
Yeah,
it's like super expensive.
Yeah, it's good, man. Drinking those bad boys. Hey, we got someone.
Yeah, look at this guy. Hold on, Joey. Where are you going again? Let the people know.
We can't tell the people just yet.
Hold on, you can't tell the people?
We can't tell the people just yet, but it's warm. It rhymes with... I don't even know what it rhymes with.
It rhymes with, are you going to the Coon, or are you going to the Carmen, or are you going to the
I'm going to the Loom.
He's going to Tulum. We know where he's going.
That's where we're going. That's where
we know where he's going,
All
bro.
right, baby, let's go, man. Yeah, but we're going to piece a little bit more on Bitcoin. Nice indecision print right above the volume weighted average price on INTC.
Okay.
And then across the board as well, too. Look at the SPY and look at the Nasdaq.
Look at it.
Watch out for a bounce back into VWAP. It may or may not happen. We don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, I like it, Joey. I like it. You're going to have a great time. And yeah, I already knew because I saw you looking at flights. And then I asked you, why are you flying direct? And you're like, and you explained the whole thing.
You weren't here when I was going through the whole spiel with the airlines, like trying to cancel flights.
Happened?
And, well,
you mean airlines upset you?
Oh, yeah. Right?
I won't hear of it.
So essentially what happened is I booked a flight, and then I'm like, I found a cheaper. Well, it didn't register my first one, so I got a refund on that. And then I booked another one, but it wasn't the time that I wanted to land, because everybody was like, you got to get there earlier, you got to get there earlier.
Of course, you need the entire day, otherwise you got
exactly. So within 24 hours, I canceled it, and then this third party didn't give me the refund for half of the ticket. So I was like on the phone with them, like, hey, I was on the phone with
the airline?
Yeah.
And they tried to blame the third party.
Yeah, right? And they're like, no. The third party tried to blame the airline, saying that there's no refund after 24 hours, and I sent them the policy. 24 hours, you get that full refund, and they're like, So I'm like, all right, no problem. We sort all problems out. It doesn't even matter at the end of the day. You throw it at me, we're gonna solve it. There it goes. IBIT 6.25 there, guys. Continuing to piece it out. Triple add on this one. Bang, bang, bang. Thank you.
I thought you were gonna do Ice Ice Baby there.
Maybe we'll get that one going. Oh, there goes Bitcoin.
You see what Brenton just sent me right now? I gotta show this after. I gotta show this after. It's hilarious, guys. SOLT is doing well, Joey. We're right back into the day high. We're at 835 right now. I'm posted at 35, but it's gonna cross for me to get the print. And we added into this position, and I'm quite pleased with the fact that we added, because I have way more shares than I typically do. So we're gonna wet the beak there at 34, just for you know what and giggles. And then we're gonna wait for that 35 print. But I've got nothing posted above 35, which is crazy talk, right? Because these ones spend very little time in any one area. Well, you know, SOLT may be a little bit less small cap gapperish today. It seems to be a bit more steady state recovery from the shellacking that crypto's been taking as of late. But anyway, SOLT at day's high. It just touched 835, and you know your boy wet the beak around that area. Of course he did. So we're gonna keep an eye on there. There goes MNDR back into the 40s area, and we're gonna wet the beak here as well. Looking for continuation. I've layered the orders above 50 because this one doesn't spend too much time on top of 50, or above 50, I should say. So we're gonna layer the orders so that we can take any price spikes up and take some beak wetters there. SMX continuing probably to lure in people as it dips into VWAP, but continues to make lower highs. I'm keeping a close eye on this one. I've seen this one trade before, and this can make your day, but it can also really ruin your day. So don't take B, C setups on a trade like or on a stock like SMX. Even if you don't end up taking or making money on your A setup, the likelihood is you'll more likely make money on that A setup with an SMX trade than you would with a B and C. Obviously, I think that that's just quite self-evident. But in any event, I think you could get hurt a lot more taking B and C trades on an SMX than you could, for example, on a nuke or a PLRZ, because this one moves dollars at a time. So I'm going to wait for that A+ setup on SMX before I participate, if at all, because we may not get that A+ setup. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on right now. VERI, much slower of a mover, but it did weasel into the volume weighted average price, found a bit of a balance. I'm talking all 4 pennies. It's still below the 10 EMA on the 5, and as a result, I'm not really interested. I'll weasel into something else. Guys, if there are any small cap gappers that I don't have an eye on, I'd love for you guys to tag myself or Joe.
Yeah, please.
Let us know. Typically what I ask for, though, in terms of small cap gappers is they've done over 1 million shares and they're trading above the volume weighted average price as well as the pre-market high. Those are really my only rules. I like to see some shareage there so that I don't get caught in an illiquid stock. I want it above VWAP because that way it tells me buyers are in control as opposed to sellers, and that pre-market high rule is just so the bag holders who have been holding since the pre don't put, you know, a damper on the long party for us regular trading hour traders. So people are saying ONDS. I'm gonna take a quick look over here on ONDS. Great call out. Great call out. It's a $3 billion market cap, so it's not strictly a small cap gapper, but I'll get to it in a second. Assassino says that there is a super, and it is. Oh, thank you, Assassino, of course. OK Bad Boats. Love the name. He's dropping 10 in the chat, Joey. I bought 18,000 in silver in January. I'm nearly 2x my money. Sell or hold. Why is it black or white? Why can't you wet the beak?
Why can't you take a little bit of profit?
As Neil, I'm not saying Neil would say this, but Neil often uses trailing stops in his trades. Why not throw in a trailing stop? You know, ride the trend. If the trend breaks, your trailing stop triggers. And, you know, sometimes you're left, you know, a little annoyed because it'll trigger your stop and move back up, but sometimes it doesn't. So I would say, you know, take some profits. But I also have another side of me that knows something quite specific about commodities that we don't see all that often in equities, is when they trend, they really continue to trend. Anybody look at Nat Gas and the multi-year sell-off we had there. Look at gold. Look at silver. Commodities typically trend for longer periods, but when they turn, they turn. So do you have a suggestion for OK Bad Boats?
Yeah, I mean,
I gave him mine.
I think you nailed it on the head there, man. You want to lock a little bit in. If you've 2x'd it, obviously, you just have to sit with the realization that the position can continue to climb higher. But there's nothing wrong with taking 20, 30% off and putting that in your back pocket, right? And then now you're sitting on a little bit of cash. If you do get any form of a pullback or you see something else that you really like, now you have that. Now you have the liquidity and you can just go in and buy it. So for me personally, I know a lot of my friends, including myself at times, is that, okay, yeah, you 2x'd it, take out your investment, and then ride on the house money. We like riding house money for sure. So at the end of the day, that's what the free rolled method essentially is. I have no issues with taking a little bit of profit. Now, as for Bitcoin, guys, we're starting to get a pullback, but a nice indecision print on the lows on Amazon. Let's see if this move can be continued and sustained. Punch through VWAP. A lot of volume stepping in right here, but it was met by just consecutive red bars. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 30 minutes after that news comes out of consistent selling, so maybe it's time for a rebound here. Solana actually did, Sharif, put in a new high of the day, roughly, and then rejected it, coming back into $8.25. But hey, I'm not going to call the end of this party because we have still a little bit of breathing room. Not much, but we'll sit on this, right? Regardless, this is where my initial entry was. I get in some more add, so it's first in, first out. My average will be roughly sitting in between these two prices. And sure enough, there it is. Now let's see if we can get that move sustained in Bitcoin. As for the top performing sectors, guys, let's take a look at that before we send it back over to Sharif, see what he's got going on. And who is leading the way?
Who's leading?
I don't know. Take a guess, Sharif.
Who are we talking about? Were we talking about the sectors?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say crypto's leading today. I didn't look at anything, bro.
It's not, but we don't get that option over here.
Okay.
Technology over here.
Technology.
Up about 0.8%, guys. Industrials, 0.5%. Financials, you got 1/5%. The rest, all red. So not too good of a look. Healthcare sitting in that 4th place, guys. The bottom 3 consumer staples, you're down 1.15%. Materials, you're down about 1 1/5. And then energy sector, down 1 1/4, my friend.
All right, guys, taking some profits here on SOLT as it's back into the 10 EMA. Now, I don't want to be quick to be like, hey, you know, it's time to add in the 10 EMA. We'll take a look at what it did on the 5. When I got in here, it actually lost the 10 EMA on the red candle, quickly reclaimed it on that subsequent green candle. So let's see if it wants to do the same thing. Number 1, I'm going to wait for a hold above the 10 EMA. If I don't get that hold at the 10 EMA, I'll wait for the breach, and then I'll keep my eye on the subsequent candles, whether they make higher lows and higher highs, at which time I can get in and continue to ride trend. I don't have to be super quick with this one. SOLT is up 23%. This is a 2 times leveraged Solana ETF SOLT on the NQ, guys. And it's done a decent amount of shares. It's a 1 penny spread. I don't have a lot to complain about this one. 7.18 million shares traded on the day. Okay, I want to bring in another small cap gapper-like stock that's moving, and this one was halted last time we looked at it, Joey. FBYD, it's still, you know, up nicely, 37.5%, but it looks like it might be, or the best part of this trade might be behind it. Let's have a look right now. This is, as I mentioned earlier, a $2.87 million stock, and the reason that they're up so much is that they're getting added to the Russell 2000. So that's typically bullish, and if you don't know why, because these ETFs that track this, the Russell 2000, as well as other people who, you know, you don't even have to have an ETF to track the Russ. A lot of people will just put what, you know, certain components of the Russ. They have to buy FBYD. So typically when there's an addition, there's a net, you know, there's a net buy, and then when there's a deletion, usually there's a net sell. It's a trade we had here on the floor for many years, and that's kind of what FBYD is. It didn't really do a whole lot, though, until about 10:25, and then it caught a bit of a bid. I should also mention to you that it is light on volume, okay? We haven't even hit 400,000 shares yet. We're at 394, so I don't even know what it looks like on the spread. Maybe I should have a look, Joey, let everybody know what we're talking about here in terms of the spread. FBYD, is this on the NQ? The answer is yes, and it's an ugly spread. It's quite ugly. There isn't uglier. No, of course there is. 24.05 on the bid, 23.10 on the on the ask, and 23.10 on the bid. That's $1 or 95 cents. That is quite displeasing to me, and I'll be staying away from this one. It's tightened up a little bit now, as it dropped in the 30 and then 05, but still too wide and not really for my liking. So I'll cover it for you guys if it continues to run up and halt and stuff like that. Otherwise, probably not really looking to execute on it. MNDR though, still putting in higher lows. The higher lows are still intact, but the 50 breach still eludes us. In fact, we're now getting we're getting rejections at 45 pennies, that is. But that's the bad side of the equation. The good side of the equation, the buyers are stepping in at higher and higher levels every single time. Every single drop, the low is a little bit higher. So I don't want to be quick to take anything out. Yannick saying Vera, V-E-R-A. I have V-E-R-I up. Let me look at V-E-R-A. Not a bad look, Yannick, at all. 18% and change. Let's look at V-E-R-A for everyone over here and see if it can work its way onto the coveted side chart. Oops. V-E-R-A. Show yourself, V-E-R-A. There we go. Let's flip to the 5. Oh! Yannick with the clutch ad. Who are we going to remove here, Joe? We're going to take off BQ. VERA has weaseled its way into the coveted side chart. It's up 18.5%. It's done a fair amount of volume. I mean, 1.58 million. It's a bit more expensive, $39, $38, but it's quite respectful of technical levels. Take a look at that pullback into the 10 EMA. Beautiful hold and a move right back up for continuation. Whether or not we get a 40 touch today, we'll have to wait and see. What I'm noticing, though, now on VERA is you're getting a lot of topping tails, at least in the last 15 minutes or so. So these last 3 5-minute candles have more aggressive topping tails than what we saw on the move up. So the shorts are alive to this, or the profit takers are looking at taking more out at these levels. But I'm going to certainly keep an eye out on this. I'm a buyer here at around 38. I want to say 38.5 to 38. That's the breakout area from the bull flag, and it is also the 10 EMA on the 5. So that's what I'll be keeping my eye on. Thank you, Yannick, for pointing out VERA. Not a bad look at all, Joey.
Absolutely, guys. All right, so again, just sticking to the game plan. So what happened as we came in towards this key support level, I removed half of my position. We were piecing it out there. I had about 50% off, so we're sitting on about, I think, a quarter roughly of what our initial size was. So there it is, 51.40, looking for the continuation in strength. And I mean, if we do continuously grind higher, then I will add more to the position. I have no issue with just continuously churning shares here and looking for bigger moves. You're up 6% on Bitcoin at the high, 6 1/3. So some big time movement. And I'm just looking for it to be continued. Now, as for everything else, it's funny how this name just continuously drawing me in all the time, looking for potential signals, but it just lives in its own world at times, guys. A nice inverted hammer candle right here, and it looks like it's going to want to squeeze above it. There's a key support level. We were talking about this neckline earlier in the session, and then if we come back, retest this, any turnaround prints, then we're going to look for that continuation a little bit lower. But if Apple continues on the path that it currently is on, Amazon decides that it wants to grind higher, heading right back into the range in which it broke out from, then who knows what's going to happen. So Bitcoin, stick to the guns, stick to things that are continuously working. It was tougher for me to get Tesla working this morning, so I just removed it. I took it off of my charts. I'm like, yeah, I don't really care too much on what you're doing, considering I've taken multiple attempts. Nothing wrong with the stock or anything. It's just that my thesis was not in correlation with Tesla. But there it goes. We did remove some, but we're headed right back towards that high, 51.40. You're getting that sustained bounce, guys. Let's continue to rock and roll. 51.60 is going to be that next out. I feel no ways about taking out half of the position because we're still sitting on around 25%. My brother, and there goes. Are you still in SOLT?
I just added, man. I added into the 10 as I said I would.
You know what that deserves, my boy?
What?
Oh, boom, 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 boom. Nice work, brother. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's going to put in a new high of the day. I think if it can, look what it's doing.
Hopefully,
you see
bro.
the bull flag that is kind of forming.
Yeah, man,
right
but that 35 seller is a staunchy little,
so, I mean, watch
Joey?
out. If it punches through that, you could probably get a 10 cent, 5 10 cent, Jesus, 5 to 10 cent pop just like that. It's not that complicated, is it? But other than that, nice work. We're going to piece them off here on IBIT as we now put in a new pivot high there, guys. Let's go.
Bro, Intel is up 6.5%, and it's off the freaking high. What a buy, man. Oh, Joey. Oh. So this is the new layout, boys, and girls, obviously. That's Joey and I on the left. That's your boy Neil on the right. Katina Man is gymming right now. And yeah, there it is. So that way, as if you guys look forward where I'm pointing, that's the entire production team, and we have an entire space there. I think you can see Fabian's arms moving in the distance there. But yeah, that is the entire setup. And then behind us, what you can't see, there it is. There is the monster screen. There's Adira's desk, and there's like the new digital desk that we have there, and that's a new digital wall. Mark is playing around with all that. We want to have like interactive stuff on that digital wall. Obviously, it looks great. Joey, with the Toronto background, nobody's going to complain about that. But
no, sir.
We're loving this new layout here, Joey.
Yeah,
Hangry wife, you got a question for me? Fire away. Always looking to answer questions, but it's a fantastic look on Intel, man. I digressed a little bit because they started showing the background. But Joey, man, this Intel buy, if you bought when President Trump got the U.S. government to take an interest, how much would we be up right now?
We're up over 100%. I've been looking at this.
I know somebody's happy about that. He's got his headphones on, so he doesn't really hear me right now, but he's probably happy. He's dialed in on the salad, he's dialed in on the beats, and he's dialed in on his Intel gains. I have beats. Yeah, I have blue beats, obviously. Can you guess?
No, like beets, bro. I thought I thought you were talking about the food beets, like he's eating beets.
Oh, no. And he's got his headphones on, he's got the beets. I heard they're really good for you.
The beets. I got
beets, like the actual vegetable beets, are quite good.
And do you like them, or?
I don't like them. No. I don't like the taste. But watch list as in stocks watch list, the large one? What? Okay. Hangry Wife, Sharif, is there a place I can get your watch list? I was hoping to see what I'm missing that I should be able to look at. And my group headers on TWS, I think I want to make them more specific. Your group headers, I see. Okay, you're talking about my proprietary watch list on the side. You know what, Hangry Wife, shoot me a message on the gram and I'll send it to you screenshot wise. So what I'll do is I'll just like copy and paste. I think I actually already have them on my phone. I'll just screenshot them to you so you can see everything there, but I don't think I can export it. I'm not 100% sure, but shoot me a message on the gram. Assassino letting me know there's a super and it's for 10 smackaroos, Joey. Lizberto. Yeah, Lizberto. Hi guys, much love. I'm not having the best time with options lately. Do you think it would just be safer to put some leap options on the strongest sectors? Looking for some advice. I'm struggling. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Or, you know, but
Yeah.
it's always tough when someone, you know, they're looking to kind of compensate. They want to chase something. Joey, options are your world.
Yeah.
Give them the goods.
I mean, hey man, full disclosure, I've realized my largest options loss of all time yesterday, just because I was just tying up capital. I told you guys how much, I didn't tell you the amount. It's essentially irrelevant. There's so many factors that come into play when you're trading options, right? You got to think of it, I use it as a hypercar, essentially. Yeah, the steering wheel and everything is relatively the same, but you have all these additional features. And when you're not correlating the additional features with what the overall market is doing, you can run into trouble. Someone was mentioning to me earlier in the session, hey Joe, what do you think about Apple 6 months out? And I just flat out said to them, I will not be buying very many options that expire in less than a year. So if you want to talk about leaps, yeah man.
I like that.
Yeah, less than a year, right? It's just so you don't have to worry about the time. You can write calls left, right, and center against them, but again, it's a little bit more tougher. Bitcoin's really climbing right now, by the way. Aside from that, yeah, leaps are the way to go. Keep an eye on your implied volatility. That's going to be one of the key metrics. That's your accelerator right there. And if it's really, really hot, you want to keep your foot off the gas for sure. So leaps. Sorry, would you say? Oh yeah. A couple more super chats. So yeah, leaps at least a year, right? Here, screen as well too, Assassino. We did take some off, but then it's just like boom, off to the races. Once again, heading right back towards that high of the day in Bitcoin. So not too bad of a look whatsoever. But good morning, Nikki. What's up, Nikki? Good morning. I'm new to trading. What advice can you give me? What is the best at trading platform? I don't want to be broke.
Yeah, neither do we.
Well, the first thing that I'm going to give you one piece of advice, and then I'll send it over to Sharif, and it's going to start with read as much as you can. That's it. Read as much as you can, and I'm going to honestly leave it at that.
Yeah. Look, it really depends on what kind of trading you want to do. Nikki, are you looking to swing trade? Or you want to buy, and hold overnight, hold for a couple of days, and kind of ride a little bit of momentum? Or are you looking to day trade, Nikki? Are you looking at what we're doing on the screen right now, which is, get in and out of positions within the same day? Don't super chat again. You don't have to, Nikki. Just tag myself or Joe exactly what you want to do. But I got to echo Joe's sentiment. You got to get familiar with the fundamentals, the A, B's, and C's of trading, so that you know what you're referencing to. One book I personally would suggest, and obviously we're not affiliated at all, is John J. Murphy's book, Technical Analysis of the Financial Markets. It kind of gives you, I want to say it's more than the ABCs, but it does obviously cover the ABCs. He gets a bit more nuanced as the chapters go on. That would be my first suggestion. Obviously, the other one is the psychological aspect of, trading, buying and holding. Holding when you're holding a winner. A lot of people want to ring the profit bell, and so they end up cutting winners early, and they hold their losers for too long. So the psychological aspect. What's that one called? Trading in the Zone by what's his name?
Mark Douglas.
Mark Douglas. I always forget the dude's name.
Yeah.
Mark Douglas at Trading in the Zone. I would suggest those two books. They're both kind of light reads. They're not thick, huge books. Those would be my first starting points there. Then, get more nuanced. Find out, you know, you want to be an intraday trader, you want to be a swing trader. Even all swing traders are not the same, right? You know, some people will hold for a few days, and then you've got myself and Joey. We hold sometimes for a few months. So they're not all the same thing. We're just going to go over some of these super chats as well. Mike PD Ryder dropping 2 in the chat. Thank you, Mike. Always, I love the input and I love the energy from Mike PD Ryder, man. Keep your eye out on his levels, and he's a great guy in general. TTV, #1 fact check. Appreciate you guys. And one more here. Sorry, Papacito, he's dropping 17.9 shekels. I don't know what the sub shekel is. Hey, I see you guys chase a lot IBIT. Long short, I don't personally trade that. Why don't you go long 2 times Mara, 2 times Riot or MSTR, and vice versa? I'm not going to speak for anybody, but I can just tell you right now, sometimes the miners and the actual coin itself not really jiving. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you'll see the miners, I think this was the case on Friday, the miners were running quite aggressively higher than the coin. I believe today, if we can just take a quick look, yeah, Mara's up 4%, but Bitcoin is up 6%. ETH's up 8.7%. CleanSpark's flat. Riot is flat. HUT8 is down 11 3/4. What is the other one? CIFR down 2.11%. So I see your point, but I don't think they're always directly correlated, and they don't always trade together. Sorry, I just got to mention this. SOLT just took out highs again. We're into 840 now, Joey, and this one's really going. It's up 25%. Keep your eye on this one. It's a Solana 2 times ETF. And then one quick thing before we send it to Adair for happening now and Neil's lesson of the day. SMX has now broken trend. This could be interesting. I'm not going to go long quite yet, but it has broken that downtrend, Joey, so be on the lookout.
Are we going there? No.
We're going happening now.
No, but at the end of the day, Mara and Riot are not Bitcoin. So, yeah, that's why.
Let's talk about what's happening so far today. We had a lot of really nice early strength, and then, of course, around 11:30, we get some volatility in tech, which was leading the market, and then we start to crumble a little bit here. So again, this tech right now recovering, but certainly not as strong as we were in the morning, and a lot of that volatility has to do with a stock called Amazon, AMZN, having this AWS reInvent event that's been happening from December 1st to 5th, and quite a few announcements being made at that event today. Basically, the biggest here with Amazon announcing that AWS is going to be adopting some Nvidia technology in future generations of their AI computing chips. AMD dropped on this news. As you can see, Amazon also dropped on this news after the initial positive reaction, though it's trying to recover. AMZN is also reportedly rolling out its Trainium3 AI chip, speeding that rollout to compete with the likes of Google and Nvidia. I want to talk about some earnings tonight as well. MRVL, of course, had a catalyst in its own right this morning, reportedly set to acquire this AI startup called Celestial. That's going to be a good look here for MRVL, but they also report earnings after the bell. And then, of course, American Eagle here with pictured is Sydney Sweeney. You can find this infographic, like all our infographics, on X at TTV Research. But AEO, probably the most exciting earnings tonight from a trading standpoint. You can catch this infographic on X at TTV Research, and also check out a poll about AEO on that post as well. Just be aware, Trump is speaking right now. He is holding his cabinet meeting. Nothing really of note has been said, except for the fact that Trump said he's going to be announcing his pick for Fed chair in early 2026. So we're going to have to wait and see who that is, but the prediction markets are heavily favoring Kevin Hassett. Before we send you to Neil, we'll take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more. Schedule a meeting today. And if you want to learn more, you don't have to schedule anything because Neil's right there and he's going to give you guys his lesson of the day. Neil, give the people that education.
Thank you very much, Dara. Hopefully this addresses, I might be able to put this on, if I can find it, I might be able to put a recent comment. Dang it, I can't find the comment or the question. So I'm just going to do it this way because I was about to talk about something which might relate to this. Daniel B 900. The words 100% of traders say is lose small, win big. However, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Andre. However, easier said than done. This is why 90% of day traders will be gone next year and won't survive. So I think that kind of thing, it gets mixed up because I've seen traders who are consistently positive for long periods of time who don't always work in that fashion. There are trading strategies, most of which are probably only on prop floors, where I can tell you traders will win like 90% of their days, but the days that they lose will be large, right? So you could have strategies which are highly profitable sometimes on like with smaller moving stocks. When I traded penny stocks and I started out, I literally would maybe have one negative day a month. But that negative day would usually be like 2 to 3x my biggest winning day because of the nature of the style I was doing. I was doing a lot of volume. So what you really have to factor in is the overall risk reward of your strategy or the trade you are making. It is not as simple as win big, lose small. You cannot look at it that way. Because what can end up happening is you'll find yourself trying to apply one risk strategy to a bunch of different styles of trade, which might not work out. So anyways, hopefully having an actual trade plan of action for entry and exit and what it is that you're trying to accomplish so you can really judge your trade is where it all starts from. I'm going to give some examples today of what that actually means. I'm going to show you Tesla. I think we can all agree this is this is chopping you up in Tesla today. If you look at from the open, like we open here at about 432. So prior day highs, we open up, immediately drop. Where do we bounce? Do we bounce off support? Nope. We don't come anywhere near yesterday's support. Kind of bounce randomly off 429, which ends up being here. You get all the way to the top again, break through the prior day high, get to the pre-market and dump again. Where do we bounce? Do we bounce at 4, bounces support? Nope. Doesn't hold the support level. Then it goes absolutely gangbusters, doesn't find resistance there again, and then bounces higher. So at this point, I'm going to walk you through my trade plan of action, which was, all right, you've got a stock which is trying to break out. It false broke, but then broke out. I want to look long for continuation because my overall thesis was if you could close above 433 on a 15-minute, I'd like the long. That was something we talked about a couple of days. We closed above 15 closed above 433 on that 15-minute. So I'm looking for longs. Now we're bouncing off of VWAP. Well, what's my plan of action for bouncing off VWAP? Hold it to the low of the day? Well, that got remade and is well above the support level, so no, that's going to be out. Hold it to VWAP. That's a potential plan of action to hold it to VWAP, and I'll get to why I didn't do that in a second. Or it's hold it to this prior bar on the 3-minute, which is what I elected to go with. Again, just catch the bid and go into the prior bar. Now, easily, that ends up being the right decision. So hold it to the prior bar, first out there, look for the out at the top. Now, why didn't I want to give it the wider berth and take a bigger scale trade? Here's why. And this is where separating and understanding the trade you're trying to make in full, and if you can't explain your trade, then you have a gamble, not a trade. As far as I'm concerned, like if you can't explain the rationale behind where you're getting in, where you're holding it to, where you're getting out, then to me, it's like you're just way too random, and it's hard to improve if all of your decisions are random. So here's what actually happened, even though we had that 15-minute breakout that I was looking for. Well, the other thing I've got going on is a false break. Let me zoom out a little bit further. A false break of a monster resistance level. That's a 433. See that break? Yeah, it closed the candle above, but as I'm getting in, is that looking incredibly bullish? Not really. So at this point, if I'm taking that trade, I'm presuming that we're going to be breaking back toward the high. I'm not getting it as its confirmation. I'm getting it in early. And I don't have that extra confirmation of the buyers winning out above 433. So I don't actually have that. So because I don't have that, I go from give it a wider stop, $1.50, and play it directly to the high without scalping out when it gives me $1, to give it the tighter stop. That's the entirety of the rationale. Now, what does that end up getting me in this particular case? It ends up with a flat trade instead of fighting into what could have been a bigger loser. You can see what ends up happening, but that just happens to be right. But it's the process that I can then grade. Was it the right decision and why? And I can also go back and say, okay, well, after that failed, the same reasons I didn't like that for the wider stop could have had me going into a short. But the other aspect of it too, and I'm going to go to Palantir for a second, is someone else also said, Neil, you have a lot of setups that you don't take that you end up missing trades. So here's an example of one that I missed and why I think it didn't make sense. Palantir I took on trend. It was a good long that I was a little bit late to. There's your first dip that holds. There's your second dip that holds. Talking about green candles. There's your third dip that holds. I get in on trend line. I probably could have got in here if I'm a little more aggressive. I don't get in till the next bar. I add on the break. I trail out. Boom. Okay, fine. We rode it as long as we could. Ideally, if it broke 176, instead of a good trade, we'd have a great one. Why didn't I go short when it broke trend? Because Palantir in particular has not worked at a high enough rate for myself recently when it has this type of a trend line break. And again, you have to understand what it is that you're trying to capture. Now, part of this also goes back to looking at the higher time frame. Now, do I like that trend break if it occurs here in the middle? I thought we had room to get up to this 177. So we didn't get there. If we got there, then I'd have some resistance to go along with it, and I probably would like to take a bit of a trend break. But here's the thing. Just because I didn't like it in Palantir, you know that's a setup I like. So am I going to take it if it presents itself somewhere more cleanly? Yes, of course. Here's Intel. Remember I left you guys with the 15-minute trend break on Intel? Now I said to myself, none like Palantir, this one is a trend break that I'm going to be all over. So when it broke that trend line, I'll just transfer it right over. I know what my entry strategy is. There's the trend line break. There's the confirmation. There's the short. There's the out. There's the first take. Now, ultimately, I think I got a little sloppy here not getting the 42.5. I end up getting a bit of a trail out there instead of getting this wick. That's only about 10 cents difference. Now, here's where it becomes a little bit discretionary. I was looking for 42 in the volume weighted average price. Now, if you note something about this trend line, when it breaks the last high to eventually get me in, there were buyers at 42.25. So I'm sitting here watching it try to work its way back down into 42. And in the moment that it starts catching a bid at 42.2, the only discretionary trade gets made. That's instead of holding for an extra 25 cents, something weird just happened on the bid everywhere. And I'm counter trend to Intel. Punch out. Now, in this particular case, I don't end up holding for the extra 25 cents. It's a small change, but it's one that I don't mind because, again, I'm holding on for the last little bit. And it had to do with the fact that, hey, it's a counter trend trade. If the bid comes in, it can come in heavy. But it's more about what is the story of the trade. For better or for worse, there's my entry, there's my stop. I know where I want to take profits in a general sense, like somewhere in here, and then obviously the volume weighted average price. And I can measure my risk to reward properly in that particular case. And then I can go over and look at one that doesn't work and sort of judge them against each other, right? So here's Tilray, there's a trend break. I'm short there, looking to get out into this about the $7, $7.25 to $7 area, right? So I can measure one that doesn't work versus one that does work. And these are kind of apples to apples trades where I know what my risk to reward was. Now, ideally, everybody has trades that you can easily quantify. This is where I want to enter. This is where and why I want to exit. But you know what? I've been trading for a long time. It's not that simple. You have to build yourself into having that kind of a concept for your trading. Like, where am I getting in and why? And being able to tell the story. Am I looking for something in the tape? Am I using an indicator? Am I using a trend line? And in terms of getting exits, that's not easy either, because I grapple with that all the time. Like, I didn't even get this one. I should have been sitting on the bid at 42.5. I pulled it to have it travel a little bit further and end up missing out on an extra 10 pennies here. So that was a bit of a mistake, but it's all a work in progress. At least I know I'm trying to take some profit in that range. I know I'm trying to, and I know I'm trying to cover before VWAP. So I'm just coming up with a plan of action for that eventuality. But all of that goes into pre-trade preparation. It's why we start a little bit earlier. It's why Sean has a sticky note, I have my iPad, and I have my note in the morning. Sharif has his note, and everybody does this because you're trying to develop an actual strategy for your trades. Because win, lose, or draw, if you don't have a strategy, most of the time when traders make their biggest losses, It's because they just like a concept. X stock long, X stock short, right? So you end up making a bunch of trades in that direction so that you can be right, instead of actually having trades with a defined strategy where you have an entry and exit plan, where you can actually compare them to other trades that you've made and any strategies that you develop, because you'll never get consistent unless you weed out the bad ideas from the good. Like, I couldn't be able to tell you, trust me, bro, Palantir, when I take that trend break trade that you see me do a million times a week, it doesn't work for me as well when I do it on Palantir, so I don't take it on Palantir. And I look like a fool when I didn't do it today, but there was a reason behind it, because I've actually bothered to go back and see how it works out for me when I trade Palantir that way. So ultimately, you have to be able to develop a strategy. And breaking news, MicroStrategy would consider lending Bitcoin in the future. Good for them. And I can tell you this, and the reason why I want to read that to you is crypto in general, strategy, this was a mean reversion trade that I know bank got made on at Real Trading. Straight bank. Now, ultimately, this was a huge disappointment not to have taken this trade for a trend break to the upside, and look at the distinct trend, look at it when it breaks it out. Obviously, you got to be the other thing that you also have to do when you have a strategy that works for you is you can't just sit on your laurels and say, oh my goodness, I'm up today. I caught Intel, I caught Nvidia, I caught Palantir. Hey, look at me. Nobody gives a damn. Darn, whatever, sorry guys. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, yesterday, was it a good day? Did you catch some mean reversions? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But if you're a mean reversion trader and you didn't have something like MSTR, then why would you be happy with yourself? I know I'm not, because that was probably the best trade out there for you if you like a trend reversal. So why be celebrating a good day if you missed an A+ setup? Me personally, I don't, because that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on what are the things that make money for me. Did I do enough of them? Could I have done more of them? What are the things that don't make money for me? Did I do any of them? Could I have reduced the amount that I did? That's how you should be judging yourself. Because if you get wrapped up in, oh, well, this random trade I put on which didn't have a strategy, it happened to win today. Great, yay me. Well, you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna do more of something that doesn't actually have a plan. And the market will eventually punish you. That's why 90% of day traders lose. Not because they couldn't make winning trades, but because they couldn't actually figure out why it is that they were winning on those trades and how they should treat them in the future, or those setups. What was it about that actually worked, and how can I do more of that? That's your lesson of the day today, and thank you for the user who pointed that out, that it's not so simple as win big and lose small. That's nonsense. I've been trading a very long time. Nothing is that simple. And if everything I said sounds a little convoluted, I apologize for that, because trading's not easy. And anybody that tells you it is trying to sell you something, or they're lying to you. That's your lesson of the day. And the beef stroganoff actually wasn't that bad, Joe. I don't know if you want to give it a shot. I've already finished it. It was pretty solid, brother. So, enjoy your lunch, back to the midday. And look, the future's back above VWAP too. Go market.
Thank you very much, Neil. Awesome as always. Neil Roberts, every day around noon, he is dropping said lesson of the day. And I don't know, I don't want to put words in Neil's mouth, but have you heard the expression, eat like a bird and shit like an elephant?
No, I've never.
No?
No.
That's just like taking small profits and then taking monster losses because you're holding them against you, right?
There you go.
And someone in the chat reminded me I used to say that. Yeah, and it's not actually mine. It's Greg, the former floor manager on here. Yeah, you've heard of all about it. That's Greg his line time, there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's all good stuff. But Hangry Wife says, I just want Joseph to hug me and hold me, bro.
You're gonna have to pay for that.
Yeah,
you gotta start paying for that.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Listen.
Get him, Joey.
Siren, I haven't hit this in a while, man. I feel like there it goes. I was gonna add on this bad boy too. Oh no, there goes Bitcoin breaking out to $51. Look at this volume and momentum.
What happened,
really
Joey?
Kick in. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna set that up there, Itra.
Okay.
I'll send it to you guys and post it up in the chat momentarily. Yeah, let's go Bitcoin, a big time move there and a solid breakout on that bull flag. I was looking at this price action, just consistently forming these higher lows, and sure enough, you pop that top off and you're now climbing up to almost $52 in IBIT, up 7% this morning, or this afternoon today on the session. So some big time moves, but we need some more shares, guys. Gonna wait for a pullback.
All right, Joey, I gotta let them know. And now for some very exciting news out of Canada. For the sophisticated traders on the stream, Beta Pro by Global X Canada. That's Canada's largest provider of leverage, inverse, and inverse leverage ETFs. They've just launched 6 new triple leverage ETFs. They're offering you guys 3 times bull, as well as 3 times bear exposure to things like the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and as well on U.S. Treasuries. And if you want even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, and they're dropping the management fees to just 65 basis points, all until New Year's Eve, guys, December 31st, 2025. Plus, the U.S. focus strategies use currency hedging, which offers the potential for pure performance as well as exposure. So if you're a tactical and you're a sophisticated trader and you're looking to amplify your performance, you need to check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Shout out to the great folks at Beta Pro. And shout out to Solana, man. You know what, Joey? We were asking, remember back in the day, I was asking what kind of coins, altcoins I should be weaseling into. Yeah. I didn't end up weaseling into any, but Solana looking real good today, 843 high. I'm quite pleased with how this trade has gone so far. I'm even more pleased that we added at around 28 pennies, because here we go. We're at the day high, 43. It's struggling a little bit, though, to kind of get above that area, but we're going to give this one a little bit more time to weasel on up. Joey, before you jump in here, I just gotta let everybody know that while Neil was dropping his lesson of the day, SMX halted down and it broke trend before. Not before, though, bamboozling everybody by breaking the downward channel, heading back up to 60, only to drop below 50, Joey. It's up only 29% now, and it's on Uncle Sheriff's you-know-what list.
Yeah, absolutely. What isn't, though, guys? I just found something crazy.
Tell him, Joey.
I'm digging into exchanges and stumbled across BTCC.
That's crazy.
Top 30 globally. But that's the wild part. BTCC has never been hacked.
Okay.
While major exchanges keep getting wrecked, BTCC stays untouched. Zero KYC. If you're in the US, Canada, or Europe, through Trader TV, you get 100 USD coupons for registering, plus 15% bonus, thing that covers losses up to 15K USD. Seriously, what am I missing here?
What are you
missing?
missing?
Scan the QR code for more information. There it is, BTCC, guys.
All right, Joey, I got to cover a couple of things. I just want to make sure this is accurate here. PLRZ, what the hell? How come this is not updating? I don't want to just say dumb things. PLRZ, just one second. Yes, this is actually halted now. PLRZ, which is up 132.25%, but was dilly-dallying below VWAP since we started the show, is now halted up $7.34. The halt, we're gonna have to pull this up on a trading screen. High a day, 836. I'll submit to you guys, though, that the real resistance level likely to be 7.5. Look at all the topping tail candles that all breach but end up failing to hold 7.5. Only this area over here spent about 15 minutes above that level, and then all hell broke loose down below 6. So PLRZ breaking out in a halt. And look at IRBT rocketing up into $1.90. This is not even updating because we don't even have it on the side watch list over here, Joey. IRBT. IRBT. There we go. This is up 13.5%. It's still below yesterday's high. This thing was all sorts of insane yesterday. What the hell is this? It rockets up into 255, drops all the way down, loses $1, and now it's about to take $2 again. This is all sorts of volatile. Not looking as volatile today, though, as yesterday. In any event, it's on its way to $2, or so it seems. Flat top break, I want to say, through high 80s, 190, because you kept getting rejections, plenty, all in the high 80s, low 90s. Now we're showing 92. We're at the high of the day. IRBT is going to be on watch for me here going into the afternoon. And last but not least, VERA, way too spready for my liking and more expensive. $39, drops down into 38, rockets right back up, and then, you know, We'll see if it ends up making higher highs, but that one's on watch for me too, Joey.
Absolutely. All right, for too long, guys, trading meant risking your own money or never having enough to start. The fear of losing, that's what kept so many traders on the sidelines, but that's changing. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets. With this limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital while Trade the Pool absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. Wow, look at Bitcoin go.
Go
It's
Bitcoin.
insane. When you hit the goal profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, powered by Trade the Pool. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Yeah, I mean,
Evaluation.
No, but yeah, there it is, guys. I only have one out left really here in IBIT. It's unfortunate that I didn't add some more shares to it. I did take some off. We would have some more for a runner, but that's not the case. So yeah, that's what I got, Sharif. I have one more out. We're up to 52.04 in IBIT, so a nice move to the top side there.
All right, brother. I'm keeping an eye here on IRBT, up 14.15. This is going, guys. Here we go. It keeps printing at high days every time I look, and it looks like we're on our way to $2 now. 196 high, 15.33% under this one's wings. Looking real good, man. We're about to clear 16. Let's keep an eye here on IRBT. But I have to tell you about PLRZ, right? Because that's the one that's halted up, halted at $7.34. It's up 132.25%. Here's what we're talking about now. We're talking about a 747, and I'm not talking about the airplane. I'm talking about the TAP, the theoretical auction price, the imbalance sort of pair between buyers and sellers during the halt. It halted at 12:22.16. Current time is 12:26.02. So the earliest this one will be open is 12:27.16. So we still have about a minute and 10 seconds until that takes place. I'd like to see what the tap looks like as we get a lot closer to opening right now. So PLRZ certainly in focus for me. It looking a lot better than SMX anyway. If you're looking at halters, I think PLRZ looking a lot better in terms of a pattern than SMX, which is now trading below the volume weighted average price. How I execute, if I execute at all on IRBT, is likely going to come down to whether this 190, 1 mid-80 area holds. I'm talking about this kind of flat top that ended up getting broken. If it comes back in and tests, you know, that 185 to 188 level, I could be interested there. Below that level really is going to be the volume weighted average price, which is at $1.77 right now. In addition to that 1 mid-80s level being that price action breakout, it also happens to be the current 10 EMA on the 5, the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. And that interests me because I often trade there off that level. So I'd like to go ahead and put in a dip trade here. And we're gonna look to front run the level a little bit. And I'm gonna put it at 89s. So that's clearly ahead here of the price action resistance. And it's also currently ahead of the 10 EMA. So I'm looking for a trade here on IRBT, but I don't want to punch in at, you know, the highs when this thing's on the precipice of touching 2. And you know how this works. You know, people take profits in and around psychological support, as well as short sellers looking at working their way in there as well. PLRZ is open, and it rocketed up, Joey, into a new high a day, 836, but all hell is breaking loose. It just lost 8. It's in the 7 mid-80s right now, in the 770s, looking going 760s here. So the sell is on right now on PLRZ. This is way too volatile for me. It has to be off technical levels for me to get in. The technical levels for me, quite frankly, are going to be the halt price, 735, and then 7. 7 is psychological now support, formerly resistance, also the whole dollar, as well as the breakout level. So let's see what that 7 1/3 does. If it comes back into 7 1/3, it already did, right? Because it dropped down into 740. So essentially 7 pennies higher than the halt level. So PLRZ on that good stuff right now, but it's going to have to ride trend for me to get involved. Otherwise, it's just way too risky. But there goes SOLT again, Joey. Solana rocketing up today. It's up the ETF here, the 2 times leverage ETF, up 26 1/3. It's 3 pennies away from the high, or sorry, from the $0.50. It is at the high as we speak at 47s. A little bit of a sell there into 46. We're going to keep an eye out on this one. So that's what I'm looking at, Joey. PLRZ as well as IRBT. I'm certainly interested in working into IRBT. Oh, wow, PLRZ just dropped into that 720 area, and it got bought up. It lost the halt level, though. It lost that 7 1/3 momentarily. It's below it again. Does it hold up at 7? It's going to halt down. It's going to halt down at 714. Let's see if this is going to be a false halt. It is a false halt. It gets bought right back up into 7 1/4. So a lot of bamboozle and a lot of volatility happening right now in the world of small cap gappers. We're going to have to trade these ones carefully. Otherwise, PLRZ, rip your face off type price action, baby.
Rip your face off for sure. There it is. We'll hit the stone cold right there on this one, guys. Let's get this last out here on Bitcoin as we ride all the way up to 52 bucks and change. So there it is, our last out on IBIT. And who knows what can happen with this, guys. It can continue to climb higher. I mean, when it decides to put in multi-K days, this is the type of price. This is the type of price action that we see typically. So yeah, a big time move. Multiple adds within to the position as well too. Again, we did take a lot of it off up here. We did leave some for the dream, and I guess that's that's my last out. Yeah, that's exactly it, guys. I wish I could do that on here, but unfortunately I cannot. Well, what Stone Cold typically does before he cracks the beers and. He flips the bird, essentially.
We've had beers on the show before. I don't think we
well, no, you can't flip the bird. You can't flip the bird either.
No,
unfortunately. Well, I don't know about unfortunately, but
he doesn't actually flip the bird. He does it a different way. He goes like this. He goes with his hands like this instead of like this.
Okay.
I don't know why he does that. I don't know if they told him to do that or.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we're rocking and rolling, man. Solana continuing to climb higher. What's Ethereum up to? Crypto space back in play for today's session. Anything can change, obviously, we know. Hopefully people don't get over leveraged once again, and the next thing you know, come tomorrow, you go through essentially another mass liquidation, which I find completely bizarre and insane. How do you, this is the thing I don't get, Sharif.
What's wrong, Joey?
It's like, okay, I understand you get caught in some specific areas in maybe a liquidation in which we experienced in early October, but what are we doing over here? I don't get it. Like, how is everybody getting liquidated here? I just don't get it. This is understandable. You're pushing for a new high. You're over leveraged, looking for that move into 100 plus. But then here it's just like, what are we doing? What are we thinking here, guys? But no, in all seriousness, back to this key pivot high volume signature coming into play. And then sure enough, who knows? Maybe those leverage plays went to the short side and they're starting to get squeezed out because you're up 7.5% on today's intraday session and continuing to climb higher. Intel forming a base near the top, a flat top up here, which isn't horrible whatsoever. Other than that, guys, I don't have much going on. I would love to have added a little bit more, but that's what if history, and we did not. So we're gonna have to go through our scanner and look for some primetime opportunities. I'm waiting for Sharif to name some more banger small caps, but what we will do is look at some of the top volume names here in a higher market capitalization. We're gonna start that off with NVDA, 112 million, INTC, 94 million, Tesla, TSLL, relatively light, guys. And I mentioned this, Drop Trades was asking me, and multiple people, Hangry Wife as well too, was like, hey Joe, why are you not trading TSLL? I was earlier in the day, but you can see it's usually at the top of the list from a volume standpoint. Relatively cool, only 54 million shares traded. We got Bitcoin sitting in that sixth slot, 44 million flat, Sharif. Tesla, 42 million shares. What's BM&R up to? Okay, see you later.
Don't ask about that.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a rinsing, an absolute rinsing in my swing account on that.
Yeah, and people were asking like, hey, when is this thing recover? Yeah, I mean, like, you got to take into consideration. You're at the third of this price. You're still down 75% from this high, which is absolutely disastrous, Sharif. 80%. It's going to take some time for it to, it's going to take some time for it to recover. And it's the exact same with MicroStrategy. And I mean, okay, I like this. That's some good bottoming prints. When I seen so it's funny, near the close yesterday, Bitcoin was relatively flat and MicroStrategy was kind of just moving opposite of Bitcoin. I'm like, that's a little odd. But sure enough, look what we got. A nice volume print. So I'm going to classify this as stopping volume. December 1st, 2025. That's going to be our largest print since November of 2024. When was the largest print on Bitcoin?
When?
Other than November 21st of 25? November 20th of 2024. So a lot of things are starting to correlate. I mean, the dates may not have anything to do with it, obviously, but just keep an eye out on the volume profile because it can tell you worlds. And sure enough, look what we're experiencing here in Bitcoin off of those lows. I'm not going to say that's necessarily the same thing that is going to happen in MSTR, but I'm going to put probability in my favor, and it's falling in that realm of we might see a bounce in MicroStrategy.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. Let's keep an eye here. I just worked into PLRZ. I'm looking for current bar low. Current bar low is a higher than the prior bar low. 713 prior bar low. Current bar low, I think, is like 17s. Here's the half dollar. It's been above the half dollar in the current candle, but there's clearly a short seller or a profit taker defending that half dollar because every time we wick at it or above it, we're definitely getting aggressive selling. So I'm looking for the current bar low to hold. Otherwise, we just stop out. We already went the beak there for a nice little winner. We got some in the high 40s. We're in at 33s, but I'm looking for continuation. Otherwise, I'll have no dealings with this one. If it doesn't hold trend, I'm not gonna DCA into an oblivion on PLRZ. We got 33s. It's showing me 33s at the moment. Let's see what comes of this. I didn't get anything, sadly, though, on my dip trade here on IRBT. It's not coming down, at least not yet. So I'm trying to pack my patience here. 190 is now the 10 EMA on the 5, but as I see it, I just got to go back quickly here to PLRZ because it just opened up a new candle, and I'm trying to keep an eye on whether this current candle is going to have a higher low. It currently has one, but the candle prior to it on the 5-minute chart actually closed yellow, meaning that it opened and closed at the same price, and it's a doji candle, a candle of indecision, preceded by a topping tail candle. That's at the end of the trade. We're gonna take that one out as it did lose a little bit there. So this will be my first loser on the day, and hopefully we'll look to do a little bit better here on PLRZ. Yeah, that is my first loser on the day. Sucks, but we'll look to do a little bit better on that one. But it broke trend, and it looks like they were stop hunting some people because it just rocketed up back into 7 1/3. It still hasn't made a new candle to form a new 5-minute high. That will go above the prior candle high, which is in the mid-50s. Looks like 55, 56. So sucks to be me. Looks like I got stop hunted there, especially if this one closes above 50. But doesn't mean it's the end of the trade, Joey. If this one gets above 50 and holds above 50, I'm going to jump into this one. Again, we'll wait and see. I hate getting stopped out at the bottom of the candle, especially if it moves back up. That's just a pet peeve. Walt Winchell, 5922. Sharif, millions will be made with TXXD Lambo season. Say less, my man. Let's have a look at TXXD.
Lambo season.
Lambo season. Where's Max at, bro?
Not here. It's not Lambo season here, is it?
Oh, well, okay. So you're not talking about an intraday trade because there's no volume on this. It's done 4,700 shares. But let's take a look at. Oh, this is the IPO from a little. Oh, this is what is this? This is performance of Doge. What? This is it's an ETF 2 times Doge. I didn't even know this was around, man. This is cool. And they didn't launch it that long ago. It looks like it started trading on the 20th of November. So I've got nothing bad to say about this. I'm not going to speak about Doge because I don't really know anything about what it's been doing lately. I don't follow it. But all I see is lower highs and lower lows at the moment. It's up big on the day, clearly, because it's up 19.61%. It's at that $22 area. Hey, man, would you buy Doge?
Probably not.
Coin?
No.
Yeah. No?
No.
Why not?
Well, our good friend of the show, Mr. O'Leary, said, what are you going to buy all those ish coins for? Right?
It's the ish coins are over. Even Vanguard today, like they started allowing crypto trading on their network, but they're removing all what they call
ish coins.
The crap coins. Yeah, exactly.
Rightfully so, man. Like, are you kidding me with some of that stuff? I mean,
bro, you don't have to offer leverage, but why would you block why would you block people from trading it on your net? If it's my dang money.
Yeah.
I want to punch
You don't need to be babied.
No, I don't need to be babysat. The government already does enough babysitting for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? No, seriously though. If the leverage I have a problem with, and we've talked ad nauseum about that, but why don't you let me punch into the actual coin itself? Like, what's so objectionable about
it's comical at the end of the day, Sharif, in my opinion. It's insane, some of the things that go on around here. Did you see what they did to
what'd they do, Joey?
Dufferin and Bathurst Street?
I never go that far west.
Oh, okay.
What's going on?
Well, so essentially it's one lane, well, like one
lane.
Oh,
yes, I did see that. It's a TTC lane. Yeah. Bathurst, because they're doing that now for the World Cup.
Is that why they're doing it?
Yeah, because they want because Bathurst is the closest main road to BMO, right? Because you go down on Bathurst, hit Lakeshore, go west, make a right, and then there's the funnel into BMO. If you're coming from the eastern side, if you're coming from the western side, it's a little bit different.
It's different.
Bathurst.
Well, we've come from west.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm getting at?
They did it to Bathurst as well.
Yeah, they did it.
But people are driving on the lanes, bro.
I'm driving on the lane, bro.
they're painted red, and everyone's driving
on the lane. Listen,
wait until they hand out tickets.
Yeah, I know. That's the
thing,
anymore, right? And honestly, but no, it's insane because at the end of the day, you're gonna have that major route down to one lane. All right. As for the queues,
finish the thought.
No, it's okay, man. Because you know what? How I was raised, if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say anything at all.
You're gonna hurt the feelings of the TTC.
No.
Mayor Chow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
she's a very capable person.
Of course she is.
She's very capable.
How is the old property tax increase?
Just 25% in 3 years.
Yeah,
nothing
cool,
big.
man.
Nothing
How many
big.
parking tickets have you got since then?
A parking ticket?
Oh yeah, you don't even have it. You don't.
No,
even
I've never got. I never got a parking ticket. I would say in the last 10 years.
You're lying.
No, bro. Yeah, I'll just pay for that.
Oh, okay.
Because, dude, I mean, think about it.
Oh, you'll just pay. Yeah.
It's way more expensive for the ticket.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's $100 now, which is absolutely insane. But aside from that, guys, look at the TQs. Might take it a potential move to the downside here. A nice inverted hammer candle. So right now, how I'm looking at this is a potential failed new high of the day. You punched through the volume weighted average price. You had your solid rebound, and then now there's some indecision prints at some key support levels that are acting as resistance. So here it is right at that break of that candle open. And then I'm going to look to take a potential move to the south side. I want to keep an eye on what Apple has been up to. So you can see that's been grinding at multiple bounces off VWAP. And then sure enough, a failed high. For now, we can continue this grind. I haven't even looked at NVDA today, to be honest with you. So yeah, let's take a look at AMD and what NVDA are up to. Okay. Is that it? Yeah, 182. Yeah, it's not doing too much. Wow, that was some aggressive selling. So this is what I'm going to say justified that selling in the Nasdaq and in the SPY. That was extremely aggressive from 185 down all the way to 180. That's a 5-point move. Volatility most definitely in NVDA and AMD Street.
All right, guys, IRBT didn't give me the in. I had my dip trade. It didn't come in. Now it touched $2. It's rejecting 2 now, down into 198, at least momentarily. The trend is still intact here on IRBT. And I really don't know how to work in, quite frankly. I'm not going to punch in willy-nilly at a random area. I'm still kind of biased to this 190, mid-80s retracement for an entry, but we're not really getting it. So I'm just going to pack the patience over here. I don't have a whole lot to talk about, sadly, but we'll start the news shortly as it's almost a quarter to the hour. VERI, though, catching a bit of a bid. It did drop below VWAP several times, but the buying has been in place since 10 after the hour, so almost half an hour now of higher highs and higher lows as this one wants to work up. It's only 5 pennies off the day high, 497. It's showing me 92s right now. You know, this one feels like it might squeeze into 5. I don't know if I'm going to work into this one quite yet. I've still got a dip trade on IRBT, or sorry, I want to put in a dip trade on IRBT. I had removed it prior because it touched 2, and I was like, okay, well, this is not valid anymore. I'm going to go ahead and front run the 190 level now. I'm going to put it at 91s, and I'm also going to put some in the mid-80s. I want to say at 87 because that's the actual breakout level. So I'm going to front run it as well by putting it at 88. So we'll see what we get there, and we're definitely not getting upset. VERA as well. Where is that one? VERA, did I take that one off? Yeah, I did. Give me a second over here. That's IRBT, SOLT, PLRZ. Wow, PLRZ is halted down. That was the best out there that I could have had. What hot garbage is this? Okay, let's load up over here. What's it called? VERA, excuse me. There it is. No, VERA, not VERA. VERA. Yes, there we go. So there's VERI and VERA, and they're both up nicely. VERA, though, is much more spready. 27 on the ask, 09 on the bid. It's got a seller here at 39.50 or 39, you know, it's hard to tell, 39 1/3, 39.81 high, but it's holding the 10 EMA quite well. And the best part about this is you can see that this one's respecting technicals because it comes back into 38, which was the breakout level, and holds it to a T. And then you're $1 and change in the money right now if you had the compunction to punch in there. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that. Separately, my SOLT trade coming in a little bit here. So we did add into that 29 penny area over here, and that's the amount of shares that we have left. It's coming back down into 35. It's still at the 10 EMA, so I don't really want to take anything out at the moment. So we'll pack our patience. We'll see what we get on that one. And again, as always, if there are any new small cap gappers making a move midday that I haven't mentioned or don't have eyes on, please let me know, or Joseph, and then we'll touch up on that. But for the moment, Joey, I've got nothing, but it's a 1:45. I'm thinking maybe a few more minutes here before we start the news. Anything you're looking at specific, brother?
Yeah, it's 1:15.
And I need you
Shout
now.
out to, yeah, but no, in all seriousness, guys, $54 level on IBIT, 53.9% at the money IV, 26,300 contracts at that specific zone. So I'm going to be looking at this as a supply area. I mean, we've already surpassed a couple of the strikes, so that's not bad whatsoever. We'll take that. And I think this can be in the works by the end of the week, right? This is only Tuesday, 3 full trading sessions, or 3.5, I guess. So, I mean, still plenty of time to run up into those areas. And with a session like today, I love seeing the strong, just a steady grind up, because come the post market, it typically does an additional leg higher heading into some of the Asian activities. So, yeah, it's not bad. I think we can continue to climb. As for Ethereum, we'll look for supply zones as well, too. That's going to be sitting around that $24.50 strike price, 15,000 contracts right there. But you can see how much substantially higher the at-the-money IV is, 75.9%. So just keep that in mind. If you guys want to pull up the strategy builder and see what we got going on, this cycle, it does have some activity. So look, here it is, right? So 23,300 right there at 25. We'll head that back over to IBIT to see what the December 19th cycle is telling us. And yeah, 54 most definitely in play. Oh, that's not it. 54, yeah, 55 evens, guys. So keep an eye out for a nice steady move higher. But $52 right where we essentially topped out, 29,800 contracts still currently open. So there's a little bit of supply there. And with that being said, I think that if you have the demand, you can punch through and then you can get a squeeze up to that next level. And that's going to be $54. I'm going to be keeping an eye out on it in the blue ocean to see what we got going on. Yeah, blue ocean tonight to see what we got going on. Freed up some of, so I have some breathing room now at least. So yeah, I mean, there it is. We're going to keep our eyes on it. I know a couple other names are going to be in play without any form of question.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Are you paying big boy fees on...
No, they're not bad at all,
They're
man.
not bad,
Well,
eh?
it's relatively the same, man. It's like a $50 a ticket.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Because I kept getting messages. Like sometimes I'll punch. Like if there's
In BL.
Yeah.
And it tells you the.
It's like it pops up that message. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about.
No,
I
yeah,
figured it was more
exactly.
expensive.
Because like when I look at my P&L, it's not even affected essentially from regardless of whatever it is. So yeah, it's literally $50, a fraction of a dollar, I guess. So yeah, it's not bad, man. It's pretty good too. If you run into a Tesla in the evening time and the volume's there, you can have a lot of fun with it. The price action is significantly more cleaner in my opinion. If you see that the stock is turning around, just go with the flow. If it's climbing higher, go with the flow. And I guess that's the motion of the ocean.
Yeah, it is, man. All right, guys, make sure to get into the chat, guys, and vote for your favorite tickers every day. Tesla is leading the way. You got to throw in that $sign, though, guys, in order for it to trigger. Toby33 just voted for Mara, and he also voted for BBAI. Get into the chat right now, whatever ticker your heart so desires. It's not just the ones that are up on the board there, but Tesla is leading the way with BYND. Well, in third place, Intel was second, and Intel deserves that spot very much so, up big on the day. The largest move for semiconductor names on my watch list anyway. Nvidia with 57 votes there, a perennial appearer on the rundown over here. AMD, SoFi, PLRZ, the one we were just speaking about, MDB, of course, MongoDB, having a fantastic day, 23.25%. We got Direction, TSLL, we got SoFi, BBAI, and even the dead one, Apple, is on there. It's 12th in last place, or second last place, but you know, that's all right. Make sure you're voting every day, guys, and then we'll get a more comprehensive look at what you guys want to speak about when we do the afternoon rundown. Shout out to everybody who votes every day. I always appreciate that from you guys. Did we get the fill yet, man, on IRBT? What the hell is going on? It won't let me in, Joey. The 10 EMA obviously is a dynamic level. It's moving with the price action, so my orders are static, of course. So we're going to punch in here. My plan doesn't change. I'm going to add at 90. I'm going to add in the mid 80s for a hold of a technical level. IRBT is trending, and I want to ride the trend. But, you know, it's hard always, not always, but to catch these bottoms. So I'm going to have some planned dollar cost averages going here, and that's why you're seeing a whole bunch of orders coming on the screen now. So we just punched in at 94. We're seeing 96. Let's see if we can get a breach of that $2 area. $2 is the high of the day to the T. But how about SOLT, the Solana 2 times leverage ETF? It is now breaking down below the 10, I want to say on a 2-candle basis. The out is going to be 1 penny below my entry, which is at 29. So we're going to go ahead and put 828ers are out there. Let's go, bro. 828 as the out. Oops, I didn't type that right. Let me just see how many shares I have left. So 828, not 888, Sharif. Take it easy. 828, and then we're going to go 825. We'll see what we have there. So we're going to pause for a second, guys. We're going to send you to Wadera, who has breaking news.
Wall Street Journal related to EA. EA did get a little bit of a spike on this story. So Wall Street Journal reported that after its takeover here, after EA's takeover, the Saudi fund PIF is going to be owning 93% of EA, and then their partner Silver Lake will be owning 5.5% of EA. So again, filing showing here what the ownership of EA is going to look like after it goes private here, as per Wall Street Journal. Back to you.
Do you ever play any EA games? Do you have a console?
I used to, yeah. I used to be heavy, man. NHL.
NHL? Well, yeah.
Mad. And do you remember Fight Night?
Of course.
Yeah.
I have the one with Roy Jones on it.
Yeah. I used to play that.
It's called Knockout, wasn't it?
No, it's Fight Night round.
Fight Night?
I think it was like Fight Night round 1, round 2, round 3.
I have the one from PS2.
And I used to, same. I used to just pummel all my buddies in Fight Night.
You're so good.
Yeah.
I was more of a FIFA guy, though.
FIFA?
And Madden.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Madden, too.
Yeah,
I had all the Maddens. I think leading up into something, and then I stopped playing them because...
Need for Speed was also EA,
was
by the
Need
way,
for
but
Speed
it wasn't
too?
EA Sports, it was just EA.
Yeah. I mean, I had Underground, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Ooh. My favorite car was the Lotus Alice. That's what I used to rock.
Remember that?
Yeah. So
I had the old one, the old Need for Speed on PC, and that's the one that had the McLaren F1.
Oh, really?
Remember that McLaren
No,
F1?
no, man, no. I wasn't honestly just recently kind of started to like the McLaren car. I think if I had the opportunity, I would buy a McLaren over like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
I'm all about the English cars, bro.
Yeah.
I have an affinity for English.
I like the McLaren a lot.
I like the Aston Martin. I know it's not the same thing as a McLaren.
I love the
Aston.
Aston.
It's a little bit of a different take.
It looks like a bullet, man. I love it. Especially the one in the James Bond movies.
So good.
Yeah.
Dude, you gotta see the dude in my building. He's a dinosaur, obviously.
Yeah.
But he's got the McLaren Vantage, and he's got the F. It's like saying AMG or M, right?
Yeah.
It's the F whatever line or F series. It is ridiculous. It's black on black, but the interior has lime green on it,
What
and
year
it's a convertible. Hard to tell. Probably late model. I haven't talked to him about it. Like he doesn't show up that much, but it's such a great car. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I like the good old.
Life.
I love the good old McLaren, man.
All right, man. Let's start the news, guys. Let's bring it in. It's about 8:02. Lots to talk about today. A lot of headlines, so let's get right down to business, baby. Just gonna have to keep an eye on some of these positions over here, and then we're gonna be getting right to work. So let's talk about Apple getting a bit of a shakeup in their AI leadership there. Apple having a good day, a little bit below 1% now, but they announced, Assassino, that that longtime AI chief, John Giandria, is stepping down after leading the division since 2018 and is their most significant reorganization in the Apple Intelligence division since they launched it in 24. He's going to remain as an advisor until retiring next spring, while Amar Subramania, formerly at Microsoft and Google's DeepMind, will take over as VP of AI. Now, this Amar guy, he barely spent any time at Softy. He was, in fact, with Google, I think, earlier this year or late last year, spent very little time with Microsoft, less than a year from my understanding, and now he's making the move to Apple. Kind of eyebrow raiser a little bit there. He will now report directly to software chief Craig Federici. So he's not going to have a direct line of communication with Tim Cook as he did in his Microsoft role. So some people making the argument it's a bit of a step down rather than a lateral move. Teams previously under Giandria will be redistributed across the organization, moving under COO Sabine Khan as well as the services chief Eddie Q. So Joey, we know that Apple hasn't been spending the same amount of money as some of their competitors like Softy, Google, Amazon, Tesla, of course, on AI, but they say they're significantly increasing their AI spend. However, because they're focusing more on on-device AI as opposed to cloud or neo-cloud AI, I think we're calling it now, their CapEx is significantly less. So that could hurt them and help them. As I was making the point with Brendo this morning, it hurts them obviously if on device AI ends up being, well inferior or unable to kind of launch Apple Intelligence, and they'll be very good for them if it actually does well and they haven't had to spend the umpteen amount of CapEx dollars that their competitors have had to spend, Joey. So in any event, a shakeup for Apple in Apple Intelligence AI division. What do you make of this?
No, it's good that they're starting to bring in a little bit of talent because we know multiple analysts said that there's a very low probability that Apple was going to get this correct in-house. So you're starting to acquire some talent. But Sean said this for quite some time, and I totally agree because I was thinking the exact same thing. They may not have to spend all this money on the AI boom because they have Google already cutting them a $20 billion check. And the next thing you know, you have Anthropic and all these other startups knocking on the door saying, hey, yeah, we want to be your primary search as well too, cutting them checks. So I think there's ways that they can monetize it and make a boatload of money without having to spend that much capital, obviously, and I think that's being reflected in the stock, man, because it's continuously grinding higher and higher.
All right, let's go on to the next one here, Joey. Costco. Look, this is interesting. It's more of a strategic move by Costco. You'll know what I mean in a second. For them to preserve their legal rights rather than them actually trying to front run this whole thing. Let's talk about it. They filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration on Friday seeking a full refund of tariffs paid this year and to stop the government from collecting additional duties until the Supreme Court decides the case. Of course, we heard oral arguments earlier last month or this month, but we're not likely to get a decision from the highest court until next year. The company argues, Costco that is, that it could lose refund eligibility even if the Supreme Court ultimately rules that the tariffs were unlawful. So again, they're trying to preserve the legal right rather than have it foregone because they didn't file the requisite lawsuit or legal documents. A critical December 15th liquidation deadline could block Costco from reclaiming already paid tariffs, but the CBP, which is the Customs and Border Patrol Agency, denied Costco's request to extend the liquidation date ahead of the 15th, increasing the risk that prior payments cannot be legally challenged or recovered. Again, they're just trying to preserve their right. Dozens of companies, Joey, have already filed similar suits over the Trump-era reciprocal tariffs, as well as the fentanyl-related import duties. Costco, for their part, they say, look, guys, the lawsuit is necessary to preserve our rights for refunds, noting that once import duties are liquidated, companies may lose their legal standing to recover the duties, even if those duties are ruled unlawful. A White House spokesperson responded, and they said, look, the lawsuit highlights the enormous economic consequences of overturning the tariffs, so they're taking a bit of a different take there. Joey, what do you make of Costco, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is actually, is actually up 0.01% year to date. It is literally on the dot, flat year to date.
That's not good. I mean, we know from previous earnings reports they were actually going to absorb a little bit of these costs, but what they weren't willing to do is more or less in the higher end consumer goods, whether it be from a plan standpoint and more or less the discretionary kind of products within the store. But as for Costco, I don't know how successful suing the government's going to go. I mean, if you got that type of money, by all means, continue to do so. But you are forming a downwards channel in this name, Sharif. I don't know if you've seen this. Look at this channel that it's just forming here right now.
What was the start of that, bro?
I guess
that peak there on
this
the left.
peak right here, this one here. Yeah, February of 25.
This is a yearly thing.
So, but I mean, like, let's not beat around the bush in this name, in the fact of how successful it's been. I know they've lifted, they've raised membership fees a couple of times as well too. That's just straight margin in the back of the pocket. But from January of 23, boom, you go on this big time run, Sharif. Like, you over 100%. In the span of a couple of years right there. So you're not going to complain. I think it's only a matter of time until Costco just rebounds. As soon as this channel snaps, watch out for it to put in a new all-time high.
Well, I'd like to know, we're gonna send it to Adara for her comment at the moment, but I'd like to know, relative to Walmart, who we know now sources less than half of their products are made outside the U.S. I'd like to know what Costco's percentage is.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly that
we found that in the likes of Home Depot as well too. And I remember with the Walmart reports, it was like it was some weird wording. It's like assembled in America. Remember what it was saying? Remember what it was saying? It's like a majority of its products were assembled in America. But where do all the widgets and everything come from, right?
Let's cut the crap.
We know. You see what I'm getting at there? Guys, look at the TQs go. I mean, this is down, brother. Down.
This guy's printed.
It's bleeding its own blood right now. So we're gonna take a little bit more off here on the TQs. I was just super patient on this trade. I mentioned in the chat, I'm like, it just doesn't seem like it wants to go, but there it is. A nice squeeze to the top side, some indecision prints, and there it is, continuing to bleed. So this was a pretty good trade right here, guys, on the TQs. Thanks.
All right, Adara, give us your take on Costco.
So with Costco, I think to kind of echo what you said, Sharif, I think it makes sense for them to, at least I understand their propensity here, or their want to kind of cover themselves just in case the suit doesn't go their way. But again, to talk about like the legal elements of this here again, I think it's going to be kind of tough for them to make the IEPA argument because, again, what we've talked about here, is this an economic emergency? Well, as we discussed, there's actually certain situations where tariffs are being imposed for countries like Brazil where there's actually a trade surplus here that benefits the U.S., right? So the point I'm trying to make is it's going to be a little bit difficult to make these arguments. Now, of course, you can, and people have said that there's non-trade related barriers that are at stake or non-tariff related barriers. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see how the argument goes. I did listen to the entire first round of talks here for the Supreme Court for this case. The Supreme Court seemed pretty open. We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But either way, regardless of how the decision goes, makes sense that Costco might want to front run it a bit, so to speak.
And I want to mention, so I just checked with Gemini, and we always, we have to be careful with the information that we get from these LLMs, especially if they're not based on a sourced article. But it says here that only 33%, Joey, of Costco USA, not Costco Canada or Costco in any country, just Costco USA, 33% of the sales are from imported products. That would put it in a better position than Walmart, who's less... more around that 50% mark, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's interesting. So it's funny, like Costco takes that initiative, not Walmart, even though Walmart, stands to lose a little bit more because more of their products are imported.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, take that information, I don't want to say with a grain of salt, but double check it because, it could be completely inaccurate. And you just double checking with LLMs now is sort of a required thing, right?
Absolutely. No, it is, because you know what? When I'm at home or even here, sometimes when I'm plugging stuff in for the options activity and I hit the nano banana on slides, it'll hallucinate the numbers, and I'm like, what? Like, the information is right there. Why are you changing it?
Bro, don't get me started. Don't get me started on that. Every morning. Great question from Ichiro. How about Sam's Club? Because obviously that is a bit of a different look for Walmart. So that's a great follow-up question. Sam's Club is owned by Walmart. Unlike Costco, Sam's Club and Walmart doesn't publicly disclose specific. However, I'm just trying to look here. Domestic merchandise, it doesn't know. It says, actually, Walmart suggests that about 2/3, approximately 67%, of merchandise sold in their U.S. stores is made, grown, or assembled domestically. So it's not separating Walmart's proper stores, Ichiro, from Sam's Club. But great question by you on that. Martinez, trust me, bro. Look, bro, I mean, I told you, like, you got to double check the facts from these LLMs. They just hallucinate way too much. Walmart is better than those long lines. I'm gonna have to filter your message there, no drip network, because we can't use the F on the stream. But long lines and employees at Costco. Hey man, last time I was at Costco, they have those walk around cashiers now. They bring that iPad, they cash you out, so when you get to the checkout, you're good to go and everything's super quick. So nice to see that they're making efforts in that regard. Joey, we're taking prints here on IRBT as this one's weaseling up back into $2. This is a $2 high a day. I'm packing my patience here on IRBT. We only got one entry though. We didn't get any of that 90s or any of the mid 80s. So we're gonna pack our patience on those ones and see what we get. Let's go on to the next story. Tesla, battery concerns. I know there was several headlines today on Tesla. Obviously, there's a good headline in the sense that they are up 9.9% in the month of November for Chinese sales. However, this is the bad side. This is the one that I reviewed. A European service provider reported that Tesla Model Y and Tesla Model 3 vehicles equipped with a certain specific LG battery pack is experiencing what they're calling catastrophic failures linked to high internal resistance. An EV repair clinic in China said for their part that 90% of the cases that they got at their clinic they received involved the LG battery packs, which can't be replaced at the cell level, unlike their competitor Panasonic cells, which allow for targeted repairs. Now we know that the Fairmont Gigafactory actually has an adjoining plant where Panasonic actually makes the batteries there and then weasels them into the Tesla Gigafactory, part of the Gigafactory. We're gonna pause for a second on this story. We gotta go to Adara. She's got breaking news.
Yeah, just keep an eye here in NVDA. Nvidia and Mistral AI announcing a new partnership to accelerate their new family of open models. So again, Nvidia and Mistral partnership. We know we heard a lot of partnership as well with AWS earlier. So AI announcements are flowing freely today, guys. Back to you.
Look there for Nvidia as they look to get their hat into the ring in Europe. Not too many European AI companies. Mistral, of course, out of France. We wish them the best. Estimates, though, Joey, suggest the Panasonic packs last about 400,000 kilometers, where the LG packs, they start tapping out at around 250, which is obviously a major reliability gap between the two types of batteries. The industry is watching closely, specifically on the story, because LG packs are widely installed in Chinese-built Model 3 and Model Y units and then shipped globally, specifically more to the European Union. Tesla, they filed a new battery pack patent via the USPTO, U.S. Patent Office, outlining a chemistry design that improves performance, thermal efficiency, cycle life, claiming 80% capacity retention over 3,500 cycles. Joey, is this a nothing burger, or is there something to be worried here about some of these battery packs?
I mean, as for the longevity, no, I don't think so. It can be fixed. The real question is obviously the expense after 250K. I mean, are the EVs going to even last that long? Obviously, the battery saying you're tapped out at around 250K. I've never personally owned a car that had 250,000 miles on it, personally, kilometers. So are you going to hold on to it? What is the depreciation of the actual asset itself? But it can run into a major issue, Sharif, especially because we know when diesel vehicles tend to last a little bit longer than actually gas-powered ones.
Oh, yeah.
So this can be, if the longevity within these vehicles is there and you're topping out at 250K and you have another battery that lasts almost double that amount of time, then you're going to be running into some issues. For sure.
and think about that, like the bifurcation of the used cars. All of a sudden you want to buy a used Tesla EV or a Tesla car that has a Panasonic batteries rather than
exactly. You have to look. That's a very valid point, right? You have to do. How would you even determine that though?
You could probably determine it somehow, probably by the VIN, I'm assuming.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you'd have to trace where it was manufactured. But yeah, that can be a major factor. It's like, why would I want to buy this LG battery that's installed, and I want to go with the Panasonic or the Panasonic and essentially have more longevity in my vehicle. Which
that is a really good point that you brought up there. The longer life cycle for an EV as opposed to an ICE engine or an ICE car, because there's just way less moving parts, bro.
Way less components, right?
Way less.
Way less components.
So that's
it's just the replacement of the battery. It's big time expensive.
But you're seeing 400K there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, well, I'm not vouching for that. that
400K is a pretty good
insane,
lifespan
dude.
for a vehicle, yeah.
Dude, my driving is not typical, obviously, but I put like 7,500 kilometers a year on a car.
Same, brother.
Yeah,
nothing.
I can live with an entire, probably
exactly.
a decade.
And like I said, I've never had, I don't even remember what my old car went up to, but just under 200K, it's just like, boom, all right, see you later. Time to get a new one, so.
Good. William Randolph, Sharif, Joe, with electric cars, there's not 1,000 parts. Yeah, like Joey and I were saying, no maintenance. It can be your forever car, and there is one Tesla that has driven over 1 million miles. I believe that, man. I believe that. That is just part and parcel of having EVs. And a lot of people would say, you know, that's really hurting a lot of the legacy automakers who don't make that much money on new cars, but end up making money from their dealer networks because they sell all these replacement parts at prohibitively high margins. And that's not the case, of course, for these EV vehicles that they're putting out because they're not really requiring as much service. So yeah, a bad business model, but good for consumers, obviously.
You know, and it's funny to think, Sharif, just like now that we're talking about it, is why aren't they, I mean, they're extremely popular, but you would think people would move towards the electric vehicle a little bit more than what we're experiencing just due to the fact that there's less components, right? Like anything can go wrong. If you own a Break My Wallet, then next thing you know, the thermostat's gone, you got to replace the water pump and all of these things. You don't run into those problems.
But if you're buying new, Joey, you're not worrying for 4 or 5 years,
no,
80,000, whatever,
exactly.
right?
But even down the road, right? Why would you want to, like, it's your vehicle. Why do you want to have to worry about all these little factors that can...
No, but I agree with you 100%. Like, if I'm buying used, it's probably a better move to buy an EV, assuming that fits within your lifestyle and you don't need like long range and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Because of the fact that you're going to need to service it a lot less.
I guess it is the range anxiety that people are still...
It is.
Because
a lot of people are, they're against it from just a principled perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And the infrastructure, like you go north of here, it's not like you would see in this city, right? So,
dude, can I just tell you, if I open the window, I charge my Apple Watch by the Romeo and Juliet in my what's it called? My bedroom.
Yeah.
If I open the window, if I open the sliding door and I charge this, it'll take like 1.5 times longer to charge.
Really?
Because the cold air is blowing in. Yeah, man.
Wow,
these things
crazy.
take forever to charge if in cold weather. And sometimes it's just, and they drain way quicker too. So there are logistical issues. Okay, I think we beat that one to death. Let's go on to the next topic over here. Shopify hit by a huge cyber outage on Monday. Of course, Cyber Monday and no good, especially if you're an e-commerce company like they are. They experienced a significant outage, preventing many merchants from logging in or accessing point-of-sale systems. The disruption impacted both online storefront management as well as in-person transaction tools. Nobody was spared. Down Detector showed a spike of about 4,000 reported problems at the outage peak, which was about 11 a.m. Eastern yesterday, with reports spanning that you had POS failures, admin lockouts, delayed order processing, the works. Shopify, just to give you an idea how proliferating this company is, they have now more than 10% of all U.S. e-commerce sites use Shopify. You're talking about your Reeboks, Mattel, Barnes & Noble, Nestle. 2 of those are not even American, bro. The outage struck during a massive online spending surge, with Adobe estimating that yesterday, Cyber Monday took in $14.2 billion in spending, up 6.3% year over year. Black Friday, although the quantum was less, it was a bigger bump year over year. $11.8 billion spent on Friday, up 9.1% year over year. Just to give you an idea, Joey, of how much money was spent on Shopify's network for Black Friday. We don't have the Cyber Monday data yet, but Shopify reported $6.2 billion in Black Friday GMV, gross merchandise volume, which is up 25% for the company year over year. That's how much money exchanged hands on Friday. And we know from the headline before, Cyber Monday bigger than Black Friday.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, it's obviously not the best time to get that outage, but when we talk about the consumer being tapped out as well too, you're just hitting record numbers, which I find absolutely astonishing. It's unfortunate. I mean, we've experienced a couple outages not too long ago by Fortinet. That wouldn't have been obviously any of the issue here. So, I mean, a lot going on. As for Shopify, one of my friends was actually an early investor in Shopify. Shout out to Canada. I don't know why I put Shoppy in there. So we'll pull up some of the technicals on Shop and see what we got going on. I mean, that was a fantastic day. So it's brushing that one off, Sharif, without any questions, recovering whatever you experienced in yesterday's losses. Now, as for the daily, this is a steady grind in a solid e-commerce name, right? So you go to the weekly. I mean, you're right back towards. I mean, you're a little bit lower than that, but prices 4 years ago, which isn't horrible, but at the end of the day, from October of 22 weekly, you're still up 500%, a $24 name trading up to $152. So crazy. Yeah, I mean that's some big time.
Look at that sell-off.
Yeah, this is absolutely. I don't even. What happened here?
That was 22.
Was it to 22? You lose 90% of the value.
That's crazy, man.
Which is insane, right? That's crazy.
Let's go on. All right. Let's go on to the next story. Warner Brothers Discovery draws a second round of bids, and they've got a new one from Netflix that we're going to focus on here. They received a second round of binding bids, these are binding bids, including mostly cash offer from Netflix as the auction process enters its final stage. Bankers from Paramount, Skydance, Comcast, Netflix, they were all working overtime through the weekend to submit improved proposals, all targeting different pieces or the entirety of the company. These offers give, of course, Warner Brothers board the flexibility to move quickly and to choose between competing offers. They just, meaning Warner Brothers, recently rejected a Paramount Skydance offer at around $24 a share, which valued the company in and around $60 billion, signaling that the board here is holding out for stronger terms. A potential WBD deal would create another major shift in media consolidation, Joey, following that, of course, $8.5 billion tie-up between Skydance and Paramount, which closed last year. The studios coveted assets. I know Brendo mentioned a whole bunch of different shows taking place on HBO and as well as other networks, but it's HBO, CNN, Warner Brothers Pictures, so a lot of legacy movies, DC, of course, comics, Harry Potter, franchise rights. These are all key motivators behind the aggressive bidding here, Joey. What do you think?
I think rightfully so. And I think what we're starting to see here is someone just, like, these streamers continuously trying to grab as much possible market share that they can. HBO would be massive. CNN would be huge. The Harry Potter series would be absolutely astronomical in DC as well, too. So, I mean, if that goes through, Netflix would be a bigger giant than what it currently is. So keep an eye out for that deal to potentially
Sounds good.
Come in. Let's
go on to MongoDB. This thing is up big on the day. MDB. It's below VWAP right now, but it's up 23.8%, 419.50 high. We're trading above 400 at the moment at 406 3/4. They surged. Well, this was after hours yesterday, 15%, following a very clean top and bottom line beat plus a strong forward guide. We'll get to that in a second. Q3 revenue for the company came in 19.5% year-over-year increase with $628 million in revenue versus the $592 million that was expected. Really here, they're showing durable enterprise and developer demand for the company. Their adjusted EPS came in at $1.32, crushing the consensus estimate of 80 pennies, one of their strongest profitability beats to date. Their net loss, so they're still not even profitable here, narrowed substantially to about $2 million versus almost the $10 million they lost last year, showing meaningful operational leverage. CEO CJ Desai highlighted significant growth in large enterprise accounts. That's who you want spending, the people with the big pockets, baby. Self-service channels also delivered exceptional results, according to CJ, adding a high margin tailwind to the quarter. They're guiding well here, Joey, for Q4, 665 million to 670 ahead of the analyst expectations, and they're raising their full year 2026 revenue guidance now to 2.43 to 2.439 billion, well above their prior guide of 2.34 to 2.36. Joey, what do you make of MongoDB?
Yeah, there's a lot of great numbers across the board here in Mongo. I mean, you have the Atlas cloud database up 30% year over year. The fantastic subscriptions up 19%. You have service revenues up 12%. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with this. And I know this is a Dan Ives favorite as well, too. He really likes this name, MDB. We'll pull up some of the technicals. So when you have those types of reports, it's really good stuff, and you want to see that consistent growth within a company. You gap up 23% in the post market yesterday, but I mean, we're still not even around all-time highs right now. You're still 20% off of that previous level.
Okay.
And if we look at this name, it's not the cleanest price action whatsoever, but from those April lows, Shreve, how much up do you think we're up in MongoDB?
April lows. I'm going to say, just based on the fact that we're up 24% right now, I'm going to say 143%.
199.38%.
200%.
Yeah,
okay.
200% return right there in MongoDB from those April lows.
The April lows. All right, Adira, give us your take on MongoDB.
MongoDB's new CEO, who is CJ Desai. So he was appointed as of, this was announced on November 3rd of this year. So he is very, very new at the company. In fact, as of tomorrow, it'll be a month since this was announced. But I know Sharif was talking about how the new Apple AI guy has a pretty spotty work history. CJ Desai is a lot spottier, so I would like to discuss it. So he's kind of a job hopper, let's be real. He served 7.5 years over at ServiceNow, all fine and good, but then in July of 2024, he gets from ServiceNow because he hired someone who was like a chief intelligence officer with the Army, which is a huge no-no, and I'm thinking, hopefully you would have the wherewithal to check that before you do that hiring, but either way, he doesn't. He resigns in disgrace. 2 months or 3 months later, he is hired by Cloudflare. So that's October 10th of 2024. His appointment is announced at Cloudflare. Well, wouldn't you believe it? About a year and a month after that, Cloudflare Files says, hey, CJ Desai is going to go bye-bye. He's going to go to, and as of that point, unnamed tech company, of course, later announced to be MongoDB. I say all of this to say that I don't think job hopping is a great quality to have a new CEO. So heads up here, let's see how CJ Desai does. And I also find him to be an interesting choice because their prior CEO at MongoDB, David Achiria, who was highly liked as a CEO. He was with the company for 11 years. He took them through their IPO. Steady, reliable, not with this body work history. So we'll have to see how CJ fares. But, I will be putting it this way. I've got eyes on him. I want to see what he does next. But yeah, this work history, I'm putting him on notice.
List. Yeah, guys, I mean, here we are in the TQs. I put in an ad. I want us to focus on this price action candle right now and on the tape. So you can see we push back into 55.05 roughly, but as soon as we flush down, it's immediately bop right back up. So as soon as we break that 1550, yeah, right there. So boom, I'm out of this trade. It's not doing what I want. We got a nice move to the downside, and as frustrating as that is, there goes Bitcoin putting in a new high of the day. So I'm over. Again, so essentially looking for the continuation. Sorry, just trying to not get overly frustrated. But at the end of the day, there it is, looking for that move back in and the continuation. So we get that move on the initial pop, and then I add substantially more shares in the continuation of the trend. Okay. So one thing to note is look where I'm selling and adding into this position. It needs to be significantly higher up here so that your risk to reward is better, because I'm not proven wrong for an additional 30 cents. So if it is going to turn around, I think it's ideal to just take your moves in the TQs and then just try to find some individual names after, because there's a lot of tomfoolery going on right around here. And I want to avoid that. I said I wasn't going to trade it too much today, so that's going to be my only attempt on the TQs, looking for that add in the continuation to the downside, but a strong rebound in this market, guys.
All right, Joey. Let's talk about Meta. Getting the nod today from Evercore ISI. They're lifting their outlook. Let's talk about what they said. They reiterated their outperform rating with an $875 price target. Their argument here is that WhatsApp is becoming a powerful long-term revenue engine rather than just a messaging app. I gotta tell you, I don't use WhatsApp all that much, and I just logged into the app today, and I'm like, there's all these features on it that I don't even know about, Joey. Yeah. Communities, updates, like people update their status on WhatsApp like BBM. Are you old enough for BBM?
Yeah, remember I told you my story?
You did? Yeah, my bad.
Good.
My bad. So like, there's all these WhatsApp features I have no idea about. Anyway, the firm estimates WhatsApp could be a $40 billion revenue segment by 2030, generating about $20 billion in operating income and adding about $7.15 EPS for that year alone. WhatsApp ultimately contributing, according to their theory here, Evercore's theory, about 10% of Meta's total revenue, which is basically leveraging their 189 billion TTM, which is a trailing, what is it, total trading?
Trailing 12 months?
Trailing 12 months, that's it. Trailing 12-month revenue base with 82% gross margins. That's insane, which makes sense, though, because it's not a physical product. It's all ads. They break up their WhatsApp monetization into 3 different regions. They say updates and channels, which is a high margin broadcast content tool. They're talking about business messaging, that I kind of knew about, increasing use across Latin America, India, and Southwest Asia, apparently. And the click to message ads. I don't get any ads on my WhatsApp, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, there's
you get ads?
Yeah, once in a while they'll send you a little message showing an ad. Yeah. Crazy.
Okay, maybe I don't use it that much.
Yeah.
In any event, Joey, Evercore giving Meta the nod. Meta is up 0.89 today, but still below 650.
Dude, if you look at everything from an international standpoint, I think that's how everybody communicates, right? Not everybody is through iMessage. It's strictly through WhatsApp. You go to some of the Caribbean countries, WhatsApp. So yeah, I mean, it's going to continue to grow, I think, in my opinion. And it's the encrypted factor of it as well, too. So you delete those messages, they're gone. So no, at the end of the day, yeah, people like that. For I wonder what mischievous activity those individuals are up to. But no, in all seriousness, I think it's going to continue to grow because it's popular in I don't want to say third world countries, but just across the globe, second world, third world, whatever.
Absolutely.
It may be.
They are, and even Egypt, bro. Like, do you have the what's?
Yeah. Do you have the?
They don't even say WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. That's it. Hey, you just have the what's. Yeah, I mean, it's
Joker.
Like that's how I communicate with all my family in Jamaica is WhatsApp. And when I travel abroad, it's just easier because all you need is, aside from obviously Wi-Fi, you can use that unlike basic SMS
need somebody's
texting,
number.
like
That's
SMS
it.
texting,
For sure.
right?
You don't get dinged with those international text messages. things.
Exactly.
Shout out to Rogers and Bell, the most loved companies in Canada, of course. Shout out as well to get it, Assassino. Outlawed Trader. I love the name, and I love the fact that you're trading IRBT with me. There goes IRBT through $2, guys. It is at the day high of 204. We just wet the beak there at 203. We're still holding a few shares, so let's go ahead and post that lucky number 7. We'll see if we get a nice spike and a clearing of 2. I mean, we're only about 4 pennies above that $2 level, but good look right now for IRBT. Let's see if this one continues to run. It's done about a little less than 10 million shares on the day, 9.5, but it's up a respectable 20%. I'm going to keep an eye out on that, Joey.
TQ, hold on, man. Yeah, we got back in here, guys, right at 55.20. I knew this was a little bit of a fake out. Now we go full size here, and then sure enough, we get that move right back into 55s.
All right, let's go on to the next story. Intel having one hell of a day. It is up 7.4% and by far, at least on my watch list, the strongest name, followed by NXPI, which is up 6%. I'm talking, of course, about my semiconductor microchip watch list. So the story here is they're going to invest about 860 million ringgit. I didn't even know that was a Malaysian currency. I'm sorry, I'm uncultured. $208 million to expand assembly and testing operation in Malaysia. The announcement came after CEO Lip-Bu Tan met with the Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. Malaysia says the decision signals Intel's long-term strategic confidence in their country. They already have a footprint there, though. They already operate major facilities in Malaysia, including a 12 billion ringgit advanced packaging plant in Penang, which is now about 99% complete. They previously pledged about $7 billion back in 21 to build an additional site in the state. The new $860 million ringgit investment strengthens Malaysia's role as a core manufacturing hub for Intel, Joey. So good look from Intel. They're throwing some money around, though, here, huh?
Yeah, rightfully so. I think at the end of the day, Lip-Bu coming in, making some moves. and striking some good deals. And this is what we expected to see from. He hasn't even been in office for a full year yet. So he hasn't been the CEO for that long, and the stock has performed significantly better than the majority of the previous Intel CEOs. And
He was almost out too.
yeah, well, because of our guy.
He displeased President Trump.
Yeah, exactly. So there's something going on there. You don't want to do that. So we're thinking, hey, conflict of interest with China, you're almost out of there, but striking a deal, obviously Donald Trump and company taking a 10% stake, striking some deals with Apple as well, too. So they're going to continue to climb a little bit higher.
It is interesting, though, how quickly President Trump, you know, I don't want to say he was sour on the guy. I don't want to say he's sweet, but he hasn't certainly said anything.
No, that's good. Sometimes no news is good news.
Yeah, clearly here. Otherwise, President Trump would be coming after you if he had a problem with you. All right, Adair, give us your take on Intel.
We have to shout out Lip-Bu-Tan. We've talked about this before on the show, but the way Lip-Bu-Tan is running Intel is almost kind of closer to how, you know, a new founder of a startup is going to try to run the business, get all the investments you can, get all the connections you can. He's reaching out to everybody. We've heard reports he's reaching out to Apple, and that actually seems to be coming to fruition. We know Nvidia has the deal. So yeah, I think you're reaching out to other countries. Great look here for Intel. You know, get those investments or get investing, expand your reach, and I think if they can really grow that Foundry business, I think it's going to be another further step in the right direction for INTC. I want to mention another thing, though, that is kind of interesting, that is tangentially related, that came out early this morning. So Reuters is reporting that we know the U.S. government, of course, is investing in Intel, but we didn't know that apparently they're trying to invest in a startup chaired by former and pseudo-disgraced Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger. That's right, Pat Gelsinger. He's been out of the company for like a year, and now we have reports from Reuters, the U.S. government signing a non-binding letter of intent to invest up to $1 million in Xlight, a startup that is chaired by Pat Gelsinger. So it does show that Washington is really trying to continue that leadership in the chip space. However, it's kind of interesting because we know Lip-Bu-Tan was not a fan of Pat Gelsinger. So if they're trying to get like Intel and Pat to kind of work together, get in the chip space, not sure how that's going to work, but some interesting food for thought.
Thank you very much for that. I like Patty G.
You like Patty?
He posts a lot of Bible stuff on
does he?
X. Yeah.
God-fearing man.
He doesn't post anything about tech, which is kind of why I followed him. But he posts a lot of Bible stuff.
Nothing about the business, all about the king himself.
Yes, sir. Let's go on, Joey. Let's talk about some Marvell. We talked about this one earlier being one of the only microchip semiconductor names still negatory on the year, but they have been doing quite well lately. So let's talk about what they're doing here. They're reportedly close to acquiring Celestial AI in a cash and stock deal exceeding $5 billion, including milestone earnouts. The announcement could come as early as Tuesday, so that should be today. We'll find out if they got it. Marvell has about a $78.5 billion market cap, is competing directly with Broadcom in the custom silicon space. And that custom silicon also happens to overlap, yes, with ASICs. We've been talking a lot more about this. They're not new, but they're coming back in vogue. ASICs, so application-specific integrated circuits, they perform better in certain tasks than NVIDIA's GPUs, and they cost a fraction of the price and consume a fraction of the energy. Whether or not they end up being proliferated as the go-to AI-type chip, or whether these GPUs remain mainstream, time will tell, but they are causing some sort of uncertainty in the tech space at the moment. Acquiring Celestial AI for Marvell would significantly expand, I should say, their position in high-performance computing pipelines, especially with those tied to AI. So what does this Celestial AI do? Well, they specialize, Joey, in photonics-based interconnects, using light instead of electrical signals to move data between AI accelerators and RAM memory, that is. The technology is seen as critical to solving AI bottlenecks and compute requirements, and the startups raised about $515 million to date, including a $250 million round back in March, which was backed by, yes, the Lisa Su-led AMD. They also have a high-profile board member there, Joey.
Who is it?
Lip-Bu-Tan. He's on the board of this Celestial AI. So why does this matter for Marvell? Because AI data centers are struggling with memory bandwidth limitations, and Celestial AI's photonics platform directly addresses this choke point. So it's a way around a technological hurdle.
No, that's pretty cool. I'm not familiar with this, but M&A seems to be fully in play. You can see a lot of deals being made, and then sure enough, Marvell, which hasn't been performing a horrible, I'm pretty sure, year to date, Sharif. I could eat my words relatively quick. No, not at all. But, I mean, we look at this from January of 25, the beginning of the year. You're drastically underpacing the market. You're not performing very well. You're down 27.5%. And this was just absolutely disastrous over here. Yeah, I mean, that's 62%. So in order to recover from this, it's going to take some time. And I know this is kind of comparing apples to oranges right here, but we go over to MSTR and we head over to the BMNRs. Like, at what point, this is a $540 name at its peak, you're down 66%. So, I mean, like, at $250, you still have 100% of the way to go. And that's $70 from where we're currently trading at. You still have 100% to just get back to where you were before in November of 24, which is insane. So I'm not a big fan of these styles. And those drastic drawdowns, in my opinion, Sharif, I understand that we've seen it in the likes of some of the Mag 7s, but the fundamentals recover them relatively quick. Exactly. When you don't recover this quickly, exactly. When you're not recovering this quick, there's something going on with the books, and you have to figure that out.
Well said. Yeah. Because usually there's a reason why people are no longer interested in buying the stock hand over fist. Good call there, Joey. Guys, PLRZ is halted to the upside again. Shout out to Case, man. I know Casey, 526, was looking at this one. It held the 50 clean. So I just want to bring this in for a second because there was a momentary area of bamboozlement. So take a look at that red line. It's been awfully respectful of that red line, which is the 50 exponential moving average on my 5-minute chart. And it did the same thing before. Holds the 50, rockets up, halts at about 836. It's doing the same thing now. Actually, it halted at, 733. It got up to 836. It is now halted at 794. It is up 151%. But before you start jumping into this one and sending market on open orders, take a look at what it's done multiple times today. When it gets into that 8-ish area, it has a tendency to mean revert right back down, albeit making higher lows in the interim. So that is, I think, probably the most operable part of this trade is to keep an eye on those higher lows and to try to pick it up. I debated with myself picking it up with a breach below 50 stopping me out. I decided against it because we started the news, but I was alive to it. Anyway, up 151%. And looking to do a little bit more damage here. PLRZ. Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, the TQs are, and what's up to my boy Tony? I hope everything is going good. You're short NVDA, we're short the TQs, brother, so that's gonna work out relatively well for both of us. I mean, we take this entry at the break of the neckline. Ooh, I wonder who's been talking about that for quite some time. I wouldn't know. But anyways, aside from that, guys, we piece it out. We look for the reload up here. We get stopped out at the pivot high. I just see the tape flip, and I'm like, 55.20, where is that correlating with, Sharif?
Where is it correlating?
The neckline, brother. So you take the other attempt on that one. Doesn't always work that way, but we're just trying to put things in our favor as we typically do. So, as Katniss Everdeen once said, may the odds forever be in your favor. Did she say that? I don't know if she said that, no. But anyways, you guys know what I'm getting at. May the odds forever be in your favor. But Bitcoin continuing to climb up to $52.34.
Bro, man, the Premier League is like in that time slot, Joey, where they play like every 3-4 days.
Yeah.
They just played on the weekend, and now they're playing again today. Fulham plays City.
Are typically games only on Saturdays?
Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay,
There's a Monday game sometimes and a Friday game, but there'll be singles, like one Monday game, one Friday game. But the bulk will be Saturday and Sunday.
So why can hockey bros play a game every other day, but you play only soccer once a week?
Because you guys shift.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh, you were prepared for that one.
Yeah.
Hey, no, all right. No,
well, you're not telling me that the hockey guys are that much better shape than the soccer guys, you know? Like, it's just not.
Oh, no. That's not what I'm implying at all. It's just why isn't it more frequent considering.
I think these guys get beat up, too. In the Premier League,
it's
you
tough,
get your shins kicked,
tough,
you get stomped on. It's a physical league, bro. Yeah, I know. I don't like that. I don't like that part of soccer. I gotta agree with that. I could do without that. I could do without that, dude. All right, man. You saw that we won, eh? I was ready for that one.
Yeah, you're
All right,
ready,
Joey,
man.
let's talk about some coin here, man, because
Let's do it.
Bitcoin's having a day. So is all crypto. So Bitcoin is stabilizing, Assassino, at around $87,000. It was, obviously, it's much higher now. Holding firm despite $486 million in liquidations over the past 24 hours. Showing how aggressive the prior leverage buildup had become. We've talked ad nauseum, Joseph and I, about the leverage products both offered by onshore brokerages as well as the offshore ones. I showed you guys one with 200 times yesterday, MEXC, and then there was another one, Bitstamp or whatever, BitCrap, that was 1,000 times leverage. In any event, Joey, traders noted that, ETF flows were mixed though. So BTC for today saw about 8.5 million in inflows. I'm sure there's way more now. ETH, though, at least to start off the day, had about $79 million in outflows. I'm sure that is different now because ETH is up big. Traders note, though, BTC has confirmed support at 85,000, setting a higher low. And that's what Joseph and I were talking about when we did that daily chart. I said, Joey, as long as it holds above that higher low, I think we're still holding trend. We'll have to wait and see if that was accurate or not. The breakout level could be about 90,000. We're above that now. Still widely cited as a key trigger for renewed upside momentum. You also had, obviously, Solana moving up because I've been in SOLT all day. Solana flashed a weekly TD sequential buy signal. Ethereum remains stuck, though, after last week's failed breakout, and XRP continues compressing inside a falling wedge, according to some of these reports. Give us your take.
Yeah, I think it was Darth, Trader, and I talking in the chat. So when we were experiencing these liquidations over the past couple of months, he brought up a point that I was actually thinking the exact same thing.
Okay.
Is it an individual? I'm not going to say like a group of individuals who are just leveraging, but just waiting for that pop so they can get out immediately. So it's the same kind of parties just continuously getting liquidated.
I hate that.
And I think that's what the narrative is, right? So it's just like you're over leveraging whoever it may be on the other side of the screen, looking for that 2-3% pop, and sure enough, boom, you hit that target. But when it goes against you, it's like instantly. And then and we were joking, he's like, yeah, they just hit the ATM immediately after, waited for another opportunity, and did the exact same thing again. So I think that's what's going on behind the scenes. So
I agree, man. I mean, it just doesn't like jive. Can I say something?
Yeah.
When we started talking about institutions buying this and you're going to have institutional inflows, a lot of the theory was, look, that's going to bring a little bit of calm into a very volatile asset.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
And so you can't make the argument we're still as volatile as we were before, but this leverage brings in a new variable, which is kind of outdoing or basically undoing the stability brought in by institutional money. So that's what I keep talking about, because it's not a U.S. domestic asset, right? It's a world.
Yeah, it's global.
So anybody offshore can offer whatever the hell they want in terms of a leveraged product.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you have no control over that. You have no control over that whatsoever. I just find it weird in a sense that, okay, I think it was October 10th or October 11th, you experienced one of the largest liquidations in the crypto space.
Right.
Huge, but then a month later, a little bit more, you experience another massive one. So what I'm getting at here essentially is how many different, I don't think that there's gonna be new waves coming in, participants that quick. I think it's a group of the same individuals who are taking, if that makes sense, right? Because like, essentially those people aren't going to be able to recuperate whatever amount of money they lost in the span of a month. But someone who has a deep pocket will have the ability to do so.
For sure.
So what are they doing? They're just leveraging. I'm not saying it's one individual. I think it's obviously a bunch of different ones. But to have a new wave of people get liquidated that quick, I don't think is something that can happen in that short time of a span.
Fair enough. All right, guys, let's go on to the next topic. If I can find it over here. There we go. All right, Amazon Cyber Monday demand surges. So Amazon has a different headline today with a tie-up, I believe, here. NetApp tie-up there with Nova Portfolio, AWS. There was, what else? There was a bunch of different ones over here that came in earlier. Just trying to look over here. Launches new AI chip for testing facilities. So there's a bunch of different headlines. The headline I'm going to give you here is basically Cyber Monday and Black Friday and what the numbers were. So Adobe, we know Adobe Analytics tracks this stuff for whatever reason. I don't know why I don't know why Adobe does this. It's not really their business, but they do it. Cyber Monday sales up 4.5% year over year, now 9.1 billion as of 6:30 p.m., pacing towards a record 13.9 to 14.2 billion for the full day. I'm sure I can get you the numbers, but now I didn't have them in the morning. Expected to become, Joey, the largest online shopping day of all time, with peak buying between 8 and 10 p.m. That was yesterday, of course. 55.2% of all purchases came from mobile devices, not PCs. Very interesting there. So the majority, now over the majority. Discounting remains quite aggressive. Electronics, you're seeing an average ticket price reduced by 30%. Apparel had an average reduction of 26, computers 24, TVs 23, toys were also marked down 27%, appliances 19. There's a whole lot of markdowns. Really leading the way though, electronics with the biggest markdown, 30%. They also saw, that is electronics, the standout activity with Bluetooth headphones and speakers. Sales of that, Joey, up 1,900% year over year. People really want these Bluetooth headsets or speakers. Televisions, sales jumped 1,800% year over year versus the typical October daily volumes. Deep discounts and broad category coverage continue to draw customers a little earlier than the actual Monday week itself. Cyber Week expected to surpass $43 billion in total spending, with the Black Friday total hitting about $11.9 billion, which is a 9.1% year over year. So look, man, we always talk about the consumer being a little bit of a trouble here, Joey, but hey, man, they're spending more than they did last year.
Yeah, it's fun. It's crazy to think. Sharif, remember we were having this conversation, you and Dara and I, about American Eagle and kind of just the movement going on with American Eagle. And we're like, hey, are you pulling it up right now? Yeah, that's fine. It's like around $22. But does it have to be at 26 by the end of the year?
It just has to smell 26, glance 26 its way. You're going to be getting a message.
No, it has to hold it.
It doesn't have to do nothing, my boy. We have the deal. We have the bet on camera. You can't go back.
It has to hold it.
It doesn't have to hold crap, bro.
I'll give it to you. But no, in all seriousness, what I was getting at is, I said it was significantly easier. It was significantly easier for people to just type a message saying how much they're displeased of something than it is to go on their phone and actually go out and purchase the pants and do all these things, right? And so essentially what I'm getting at is, well, people are buying a lot more on their phone. Why? Because it's significantly easier. You don't need to go onto the internet. You don't need to log onto your desktop.
And you can pay with Apple Pay now.
You double-click your side. You double-click instead of having to repeat and put in your credit card all the time. So yeah, I mean, it's going to continue to grow. Is the consumer stretched? I think so. The world of credit is just continuously growing.
That's a good point.
And people are spending outside of their means, in my opinion, especially within a lot of people. This is what I've observed, anyways. Considering how the Canadian economy is it's not growing at all. So where is the money coming from? It's a credit-based system, and I think that's what we're falling into.
No,
and
you're
it's addictive.
100% accurate.
And it's addictive too. People have online shopping issues,
oh God, yeah.
and I think that you're just seeing. And you know what's funny? I think. When people are struggling, I think they're looking for that shot of dopamine and looking for something to make them feeling good.
That's interesting.
And then that's when you lead into that online shopping.
Before we go to Adara, I just want to mention one thing. Credit card late payments are up year over year.
Yeah.
Delinquencies, 30 days or longer, missed payments on cars, up year over year. So to build on your point, you were absolutely accurate when you say it's a credit-based system, and there's stress now showing in the credit markets. Let's see if it manifests some way, somehow.
Don't get it wrong. The higher-end consumer is it is never really affected by a cooling consumer, right? They're usually typically okay. It's the lower end who are using these credit-based systems, and sure enough, I think it's displayed in there.
Very good point. Adara.
Let's take a look here at ABTC. We know this one dropped quite intensely. People were wondering why. We do have a response here from Eric Trump, who is, of course, one of the sons of the president of the U.S., and he's also the co-founder of American Bitcoin. He responded to someone on X who posted that they actually picked up more shares. Eric Trump said that the reason for this volatility is that they're pre-merger private placement shares have unlocked, which allows early investors to cash in on their profits for the first time. He said this volatility will kind of continue with that in mind, but he said that he is holding all of his ABTC shares and he is 100% committed to leading the industry. So keep an eye here in ABTC. Eric Trump addressing the volatility in this stock. It's worth noting here as well, his father, U.S. President Donald Trump, is currently taking questions at this cabinet meeting, actually right now, involving when he'll announce the Fed chair pick. Back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. PLRZ is hanging out at 8 for much longer than it typically has. Every time we moved into 8 on the day, there was aggressive selling. Now we're hanging on a 1, 2, 3, 4 candles on the 5-minute chart, so almost 20 minutes now, in and around this 8 area. Watch it tank, as I mentioned this. It's got a lot of rejections at 8. It's not clearing 8 with any decisiveness. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say, typically, when it moved into 8, it was almost immediately reversing into the 7s, or sorry, into the 6s. That's not happening here. It looks like it's building for a possible flat top break through 8. We'll have to wait and see. But PLRZ still very much in play and up a very respectable 142% as it dilly-dallies near highs. Keep your eye out on this one if you're small cap gapper inclined, because this one could be making a move. I want to point out one thing over here, that I might be flattening out my trade here on IRBT, as this one did drop in below 2. So we're going to wet the beak over here at 97. How many shares do we have left? Let me just have a look. Okay, good. We're done, because that one is breaking down. The one I'm still holding, though, is SOLT, as this one is working back into that 8.5. It is an 849 high of day on the Solana 2 times leveraged ETF, up almost 26%. I'm keeping a close eye on this one, and I don't mind adding a bit more if it breaks and holds above that 8.5. We'll have to keep an eye out on that. Let's talk about.
Sorry,
go ahead, Joey.
One more thing here. Nicole B made a very good point, and I read an identical thing. She said, Joseph, in the U.S., it's the top 10% who are doing the majority of the spending.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, which is very true.
Yeah.
Right?
It's you know what they say, they're saying this constantly, Joey, it's a K-shaped economy, right? One is going up into the right and the down.
You're eliminating that whole middle class.
And that is a risk. That is a very bad risk, because we know part of the reason we have, that stability in the West is we have a huge middle class buffer. I mean, Aristotle, everybody talked about it. They used to call it the middling class, and the middling class was the buffer between the, the lower class and the upper class. We'll have to, I'm not saying that that's over or anything like that, but it's something to keep an eye on. Joey, we saw a few weeks ago that Masayoshi Son and SoftBank got rid of all their Nvidia shares, but we hadn't had an explanation.
That's correct.
Now, Masayoshi Son gave us one. Let's talk about that. This is not the biggest Nvidia headline. Of course, there's an AI conference, but Adara will keep us apprised of anything coming from there. So Masayoshi Son said he was crying, his words, not me, crying to sell Nvidia shares, emphasizing the liquidation was driven by capital needs, as we theorized, rather than a shift in conviction. He disclosed that SoftBank in November 1st sold all its Nvidia position for about $5.83 billion, exiting one of the most profitable positions in the Vision Fund's history. Sun insisted, though, SoftBank would have held the shares if it was not for the aggressive AI investment roadmap that the company is trying to undertake. He redeployed all that money into OpenAI with the next-gen data centers, as well as their internal, AI projects. They're scaling, of course, they are part of the Stargate project data center initiative, and they're focused on these ultra-dense compute for frontier models. They also have a conglomerate here that they acquired in the US, a designer called Ampere Computing, which strengthens their exposure to the custom CPU architecture for these data centers, Joey. So interesting take here.
Yeah.
Nothing that I can't say we already knew. We knew that he was, he needed the cash. He needed the cash, and we knew that because of the commitments he had already talked about.
Yeah. I mean, if you need the cash we talk about this all the time, like sending good money after bad, and I'm not saying that this is the case, But could it be a big mistake by Masayoshi to sell his NVDA shares? So essentially what I'm getting at is he better see a pretty big return on investment if he decided to release some of the strongest name in the overall market. So again, you're going to want to see that ROI, and I think investors are going to want to see it relatively quick. He had a stint with Alibaba Group that didn't go too well. I believe Shiva was in the 90s as well.
I didn't actually know that.
Or
I didn't know that.
something along those lines. So yeah, I mean, he better hope that this works out, because dumping one of the best companies on the planet to invest in yourself is not a horrible idea, but it better work, because who knows what this name can continue.
Let's get some OpenAI, because we're done the news, but I want to focus, since we brought up the OpenAI topic.
Yeah.
Do you remember those 300 billion remaining performance obligations by Oracle that we heard from Larry Ellison in the last earnings report?
Yeah.
I think, or Safra Katz, I remember who it was.
Yeah. 300
billion, and then the stock, what did it do? It rocketed, Joey, but then what happened after that? It started selling off.
Yeah.
You want to know why? Theory is because the majority of that 300 billion RPO was one company. Want to guess which one it was? OpenAI.
Yeah.
And what have people been saying about OpenAI as of late? Where are they going to get all the money to build all these trillion-dollar commitments? So when the market heard that, they're like, oh, your 300 billion RPO is from OpenAI? Sell.
Dang. Listen, I don't know, Sam Altman, I heard Perplexity is on a more clear path to profitability than what OpenAI is.
Interesting.
Due to the fact of that they haven't spent as much money.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So if you're Sam Altman and company, do you think that it's best that you go public now so you can start raising more funds, or what?
I wouldn't go public yet, but I remember with the comment he said on Gershner's podcast, it's like, I wish we were public so people could short our stock and they would get blown out.
Yeah, is that what he? Yeah, so they can short your stock. Yeah, whatever. So you.
And he tanked the market after that.
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't know. I think these guys are spending a lot of money outside of ChatGPT. Like, you're gonna monetize this stuff. I think it's only a matter of time until you start seeing more ads within the free tiers, right? It's just a matter of time.
So you heard the headline today that Altman wants an all-hands-on-deck meeting because of Gemini 3 and the risk.
Yeah.
They've had to put some projects on the side to focus on improving ChatGPT 5. And guess one of those projects were?
What was it?
Ads, bro.
Oh, was it?
So we already know that was coming.
So like, where's that? Like, the paid tiers aren't gonna pay for all of this spend.
Oh, if not, man, you don't care. You're charging $200 a month, and they have one that charges $200 a month.
I get it. Yeah. It's the fastest growing thing, essentially, that we've seen in the modern age. But I don't think it's going to justify or kind of supplement the amount of CapEx spending that he's been up to. He needs to come out with those ad tiers. Like, you need to monetize, like YouTube.
You know what the thing is, though, Joey? Now that Gemini is actually getting good, think about the advantage that Google has here in terms of ad placement. They have their entire history of the company. All they've been doing is doing search and ads.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that Google's not going to know how to monetize this thing to a T and better than their competitors, because that's what they do.
Absolutely. And we were talking about this for quite some time. Google had the most amount of data out of everybody. So it went quiet for quite some time. But look what happened. They just started leapfrogging every single other LLM. And whatever it goes, this Nano Banana and just all this AI stuff here.
Tell them how you feel about Nano Banana.
It's not horrible, but it really hallucinates sometimes, right? When the information is right there. But they had all of the data, the most out of every single AI startup. And sure enough, they're starting to leapfrog. So if I'm Sam Altman, I'm like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, if I'm Altman, I'm worried.
Because think about the digital ad,
especially with that kind of attitude too.
The giant that obviously that Meta is, and then YouTube as well too.
Of course,
ChatGPT has that potential, and I think they need to unlock it to really to justify some of these valuations.
All right, let's look at some of these comments. Oh, thanks, Mickey. Do that again, baby. Moo, I wish it were. You're killing me, bro. Drop Systems, he wants to agree to disagree, Joey. He's not agreeing with what we've had to say here. And Ram wants everybody to know that she's only, with 4 Ys, used Gemini since October. Ram, you're one of the reasons I started even using Gemini again, because you won't shut the hell up about it, right? So, thank you for not shutting up. I'm playing. Love you, Ram. Jacques. Sharif, Joe, I don't know if this comes from a change of regulation in the US, but ads are everywhere now. Pause the video on Prime, ad. Uber wait screen, ad. Everywhere, ad. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Joey, I hadn't even opened Amazon Prime Video, like I don't even remember how long. And then I open it up to watch a little Married with Children, you know, I wanted a little chuckle here and there. And you have to watch like 100 ads. There were no ads. I'm
like,
paying $10.
And the thing is, though, it's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes of ads.
It was more, bro.
It's horrible, man. It's horrible. But I think that, listen, prompt, ad.
Everything.
ad. Like,
absolutely.
Ad. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to pay not to see that. So,
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're having a great time here. Yeah. Look, all right, guys. I'm not even going to comment about that. All right, let's look over some trades over here as we about to hand it off to the big boys. It's almost 2 o'clock. It's about 3 to 2. I just bring in the side chart here and talk about some of these small cap gappers that are continuing to run in the afternoon over here. SOLT, certainly not a small cap gapper, but it is a Solana leveraged ETF. We did well on this one. It's hanging out near the high of the day. It's a 849 high. It's showing 36s, but still holding trend for the most part. VERA is a spready bugger, but it is holding trend as well. Below $39 now, 39.81 high. Look at that 38.5. This looks like it could be a flat bottom break candidate and destined to head back to the volume weighted average price, which is around 37 3/4. That's VERA. SMX, of course, the high flyer, the multi-day high flyer, uninterrupted downtrend here on SMX that the longs can't seem to catch a break on this one, so be careful with this. But PLRZ, man, we're still hanging out above the 10 EMA on the 5. This one has certainly a resistance level at $8 like we've been talking about essentially all afternoon. But what's operative here, in my opinion, are the higher lows. And now it is hanging out in the 7.5 to 8 area, whereas prior, once it got into 8, it was flushing all the way back down into the 6s. This one seems to have changed its tune a little bit. IRBT, I've been involved in this one almost all morning. I got out of it now, but this one is still hanging above $2 with a 2-way high. So keep your eye out on this one, up over 20%, Joey. And then there's obviously VERI as well as MNDR, but we're not going to really get into those.
Yeah, good stuff there. Yeah, Notorious Dinkelberg. I'm pretty sure there's a Black Mirror episode with that. I think Buddy works, he goes home and he sleeps or does something along those lines, and it's just ad. Oh, there was one. Where this guy's, I forget what, I don't know if it was Black Mirror, but this guy's wife was sick or something like that. Anyways, he rejuvenates her. She comes, yeah, is it Black Mirror? So yeah, she comes back to like solid health, but she has to stay within a specific range, right?
Oh, is she on bail?
No. It's just because she has like a if she has
like an ankle bracelet.
No, but she has like this Neuralink, right?
Okay.
And then sure enough,
interesting.
So she can't like leave a certain area. If she wants to go outside of it, she has to pay more.
What?
She'll just like randomly freeze, spit out an ad, and then go back. Yeah, it's an insane episode. So essentially, what it's going on about is just how ads are taking over everything, which is very. All right, guys, 2 o'clock. 30-second trade review. Katina, man, you ready for this? TQ, short, brother. Down to the, we got this to the downside. Nice move on the TQs. We look for the reload, get stopped out. But we have that extended mag right there. We get right back in. The inverse mag, where when you're empty, you just flip it around, you get back in, and then we get stopped out, break even eventually on the TQs. As for IBIT, guys, this was definitely the better trade of the session as it's continuing to climb higher. We enter reload back to the top side. But our big loser of the day, I watched that Biggest Loser documentary on
the people that
Netflix.
lose the weight?
Yeah. There's some crazy stuff going on there. As for TSLL, guys, we did get chopped up a little bit this morning, and that is going to be
I like how you ended that. There's some crazy stuff going on there. All right, we won't ask. It is 2 o'clock, guys. We'll see you guys same bat time, same bat channel, guys. I'll see everybody at the big desk.